Sit back and relax while you listen to Train Kickers podcast. I'm Dave, and along with my co-hosts Dan and Steve, we're going to take you all around the world of miniature wargaming. As you can see tonight, we are Scylla, sans Steve. We were talking to him shortly before this, and the discussion was that he needs to get a new computer. And then he showed us he somehow Hulk smashed his driver's side seat. So apparently he's got a few other pressing matters to solve monetarily before he is hopefully able to join again. We'll probably actually maybe just do something, even if he wants to just join on his phone, so we can do something, even just like catch up and see how he's been. If we're doing this way, he can easily fit in here. But because of that, we said last week after Demons covers that we were going to get into the Necrons, and that is the goal tonight. So just like we've done for 30k or some other things, here we're going to get into a deep dive. We're going to go through every little bit of this. Now, for this particular episode, we haven't recorded it yet, so I don't know how far we're going to get. My assumption is that we're going to get through characters, and then it's going to be late enough in the evening to call it there. Necrons have, one, a lot of characters, but two, a lot of units. Some others, like the Demons, had more, but it's up there. So there's a lot of pieces here. So you'll see in the name of the episode, it'll tell you exactly how far we get. But that's my bet of how far we'll get. Maybe we'll get into like the battle line because that's 2 units, but we'll see about that. And now, on to the show. All right, it is Monday. And you don't teach right now, but I do. But I only teach a little bit, so it was okay. Monday was fine. But I didn't really sleep last night, so it's less fine.
Oh, God.
That's all right. I'm still not used to, now I actually have to get back up early again in the morning. So I'm still going to bed at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and getting up at like 6. So it's rough. That was weird. Your shoulder went away there for a moment, but then it's back. I don't know why. I don't use backgrounds. I go all out natural here. So you can see all my random models and crap in the background a little bit. It's cooked a little bit. But how are you on this Monday Eve?
Oh man, I'm just good. The sad part is like the air index got like worse as the day went on.
Oh,
so,
did it?
Yeah, it's like 160 or 150 right now again. And it almost turned orange again outside. So I was like, oh, it's time to go back inside so I don't have to like die again. But other than that, yeah, no, I've been good. I was watching the Tacoma finals live on the Twitch.
Yeah, on the Warhammer stream.
That was actually really fun.
I didn't catch the finals. I caught a few other rounds, but I missed the finals.
It was Custodies versus Custodies. So,
okay.
But it was 2 very different Custodies lists.
See, I've heard you say that before, and then you've went through the list, and it's like 2 units difference. Is this actually different?
It's completely. One doesn't even take Forge World. Like there's a couple units different. I mean, you still take Custodian Guard.
Well, yes.
One list had Wardens. It had the Inquisition. They're not called Eviscerators. Eviction Squad, or something to the effect of. And then it had Sisters in it, and then it had Caladiuses, and then it had multiple. It didn't even have Shield Captains. It had like Blade Champions, and then the other list was 3 units of 10 Custodian Guard.
Oh,
Trajan, 2 Shield Captains, and I forgot what the other 2 bullshit squads were. So it was very different.
That's okay. All right. That
one
so
was
the
more,
other list didn't have Trajan in it then.
No, the other list had Trajan. They both had Trajan.
Oh, okay.
But
well, I mean, hey,
one focused on Blade Champions with Terminators and Sisters and Eviction Squads and Caladiuses, and the other one was like, no, I'm just taking 3 ginormous blocks of Custodians.
I see why that would be good, though, because in this edition, every mission is 5 objectives. That is 3 units that are really good at grabbing objectives.
Oh, yeah.
They can... Do they all have fights first? Is that just like...
So, yes and no. So, you get your Shield Captain to do it for free, right? But you can't double up on that, right? Because the Shield Captain is the same. So, the Shield Captain does it for free. You spend 2 CP on another squad to do it. And then Trajan has a once per game ability to do 3 different things. Yes. One of them is fight first, but
if you need it, it's a nice
exactly.
Okay.
The other 2, I think he jumps to like 12 or 14 attacks.
Yes.
And then the other one is a 2+ invulnerable.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, it was I mean, they're both custodians, but it was two very, and it's ironic because I was watching the Eldar versus Custodians game, and had the Eldar gone against the Caladius tank list, right, with all like the mishmash of different custodians and sisters, I don't think that list would have won, because by the end of that Eldar and Custodian game, even with just the 10 or 10 blocks of custodians, there was just Trajan left on the battlefield with like 2 guards versus a Wraith Knight. It was a bloodbath. And that was just him rolling obscenely good. So I don't think the Caladius had any chance beating the Eldar list. I think the Eldar player just literally drew, like, besides him rolling very well, it was literally the perfect counter to Eldar D spam, essentially.
Yeah, if you can do tons of wounds, or mortal wounds, I should say. One, you don't want to see Custodes because they have a 4-up feeling the pain against it, essentially.
Exactly.
And if you got giant squads, they're much harder to take down. If they're small squads, I can eliminate you a lot easier.
Exactly.
So,
well, no, they were actually really good games. The poor demon player. Oh God, that. So on the flip side, the Caladius players played against demons, and while I've been playing demons in the store and so far I have like 100% win rate, if someone brings anti-tank like a Caladius, right? If they get, because they're fast enough, they get within 18 inches of Bellicor or whoever, and they will just wipe them out. It is disgusting how much damage a good anti-tank floating tank can do.
Yeah, no, agreed. I do like their streams. I like their commentary. I just wish I could hear the players more because I enjoy that aspect. That's why I watch a little more War Games live, because I'm not, okay, those guys, the guys they have on that, obviously are more knowledgeable in terms of 40k, competitive 40k guys, or at least in the past they were, especially when they have Nick Navadio and all of that. But I like to hear the players because I like to hear their thoughts and a little bit of their ideas rather than a somewhat guess. Where at least War Games Live, Joe's, he says it. He's not a competitive war gamer. He does this because he really likes the game. It's fun. But being able to hear the players, you can get a little bit more of a feel of why they make certain decisions.
Exactly.
Because reading a list afterwards isn't always a good indicator of the way they intended to play the list, especially if you watch a game.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, fun fact, I texted, I think, the Facebook 40k group that I'm in, because I showed him the list. I was like, how the hell is he playing this list? Because that's just, you can't walk 30 custodians with the battlefield, so they will get shot. And apparently what he's doing is reserving one of them.
Okay.
And then he rapid ingress?
Yes.
Is that what the hell? He rapid ingresses it on turn 1 or turn 2, whatever it is, and now you have 2 big blocks and 1 big block in the backfield.
Yeah,
and it's a very I'm like, oh, that makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Yes, yeah, being able to watch and especially being able to hear them, you gain a lot from that. But I'm just doing a whole bunch of other stuff, so I didn't watch nearly as much as I wanted, but we'll see. I mean, there's plenty of other things coming up, but Necron's got tons of stuff, so we should probably get to them one of these days. So, like I said, this is definitely going to be a 2-parter. We'll try to keep it no more than 2 parts, but we'll see. It might even be more. We're starting at a little more reasonable time, so we might be able to get further than normal, but we have to see. So, if this is your first time watching any of this, remember, we do put this out on any podcatcher. You'll be able to hear it. But if you are watching, we are going to be displaying this up as we go along as well. That way, if you're sitting somewhere and hobbying, you can look up and be able to see the index cards and everything like that as we talk about them. So, first things first here is just a little bit of an overview for the Necrons themselves. So, again, we're not going to try to do deep lore here. There's a lot of other people who do it very, very well. And we could, but I'd have to do a ton more reading of all kinds of stuff, and I haven't lately. The Necrons really are sort of the oldest race, or at least the ones that we still know of. We don't really know the age of the Tyranids because we don't really know exactly where they came from or any of that. But for the sort of known races that started inside of our galaxy, they are the oldest. Through essentially fault of birth, almost, they were born on a planet that had very high levels of solar radiation, such that it cut their lives exceptionally short. I don't remember the actual amount of their lives. I want to say it was like 30 years or something, but I could be wrong on that number, unless you remember. I know it's short. Like, the average lifespan is very low.
It was short. That's all I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the time, they were the Necrons here. They got into a war versus the old ones. We only know things about the old ones from other various lore things. We know they're essentially the ones who made the orcs and some other bits about them. We know they're not here or gone or destroyed or wherever, but they're not around anymore. In this war, when essentially they were struggling, partially because they don't live as long, they end up in the C'tan. And C'tan are star gods. And these gods went to them and said, hey, we know how you can win. You can win your war. And what we're going to do is this idea of a transference. And it's going to remove the problems of essentially your fragile short lives. So that will give you, between that and our power and everything like that, that's going to give you the leg up that you need to win this war. And they agreed. And what they found out later on as they went through this is that essentially they were destroyed, almost, is maybe the best way to put it. Their bodies were essentially used up. They were put into metal husks, and all but the highest level lost all semblance of who they were. So like the warriors and things like that, they don't remember anything. They are mindless automata for all intents and purposes. Some of the higher ups do remember. It has driven quite a few of them crazy. One of the ones we'll get to later, Nemesor Zahndrekh, where am I looking? Nemesor Zahndrekh, that's what, yes, Nemesor Zahndrekh. Essentially, he's kind of went crazy. He still thinks he's Necron tier. He still thinks he has his, this transference didn't occur. After the war, they were able to rise up against the C'tan. They essentially shattered them. That's why now they have shards of C'tan that go with them. There's talk of the idea that all the technology and everything that came from the Mechanicum is because there's a C'tan god underneath Mars, and that the Emperor actually went down there and, Stone Cold Steve Austin it down. So various things like that. Like I said, there's a lot of really good lore. There's a lot of really good books. There's less. When you get to Xenos, there's always less. But there is a couple series that relate to them. Of particular, it's Imotekh and Anrakyr. Is that the book versus each other?
It's Imotekh. I know it's Imotekh.
No, Trazyn. It's Trazyn.
Trazyn. That's right. Trazyn. How can we forget Trazyn, Pokemon Master?
Yeah. There's a book of them essentially grumpy old menning at each other and things like that. So there's actually
literally
some good
middle
books.
Fingers flying.
Yes.
Which is hilarious.
The best line in there, he said, I hope you brought an army. Trazyn says, oh, you think so little of me. I brought 3. And it's like, just things like that where it's a lot of fun. But that's just a very brief overview of who this is. So these are, in most circumstances, sort of mindless automata, or the ravages of what happened to millennia, millions and millions of years, actually even more than millennia, of being underground and then awakening later. For a long time, the only way you interacted with the Necrons is if you happened to go to one of their tomb worlds, you didn't know it, and you set off their sensors, and essentially they wanted to defend themselves. And now with the Silent King, who's concerned about the Tyranids and all essentially destroying everything, they have started waking up on their own and trying to march out in terms of the galaxy. Much like a lot of other factions, there's always this idea if they wanted to or got to their full power or things like that, they could just wipe everyone out. And that is, to at least as far as we know, an extent, their goal. They kind of think they're better than everyone else. But all right, that is a brief overview of them. We are going to start getting into some rule bits and everything like that. So we're going to start with the army rule and what they get for their detachment. Do you want to go through reanimation, or do you want me to do it?
You do reanimation because you're the one who plays the army.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Reanimation is actually very simple. This is essentially 8th edition reanimation. So in 9th edition, the way it worked there is after a shooting attack was done, you would roll dice for every destroyed model. And on a 5-up, you would get essentially a wound in the pool. But to bring models back, you had to bring them back full. So if you lost a Skorpekh Destroyer, that was 3 wounds, you get 3 dice to roll, but if you didn't get all 3, you get nothing. So it was much more useful versus things like warriors or, immortals. Anything with like 1 wound had a very easy chance of coming back. If you had more wounds, you really probably needed to lose multiple models to really get them back. This is much more like 8th edition. So, what the rule does now, at the end of your command phase, and they have clarified this, the end of your command phase does mean after Battle Shock. But at the end of your command phase, your reanimation protocols won't activate on any units that have it. Spoiler alert, every unit has it. Even C'tans and everything like that, they all have it. You get D3 wounds back. And the way you get it back is you return wounds to injured models first in the unit. And then, if you still have spare reanimated wounds left, and every model's on full, then you return a previously slain model with 1 wound or however many you have. You can't go above your starting number, of course, so you're only returning things that have gone away. But there was concern of this being worse. Let's face it, in 8th edition, reanimation was not good. The problem with reanimation there, it's somewhat the same problem here, although it feels a little better because of some of the stratagems we're going to look at, some of the other abilities. There's a little more nuance and usefulness to it. The problem in 8th edition is, for your reanimation, if you get it at, say, the end of the turn, or in this case, your command phase, whenever it was, if you get it like once per battle round, then all your opponent has to do is wipe out a unit. I don't want your warriors coming back. If they're gone, they can't come back. And that's what we saw in 8th. It was actually pretty poor, the rule in general, because it just meant focus fire. Don't plink shoot at units. Decide that's the unit you want and shoot at them until they're gone, then go on to the next unit. This rule does that, but overall they have enough tricks that so far, because I'm in a bunch of the Necron groups, and when it first came out, there was a lot of rightly so concerns. But now there's a lot more positivity around it because people are seeing there's enough to get the good out of that. It still does mean if your opponent focuses something down, you have nothing. The one game I played, I have my Skorpekh unit, and he just did enough wounds that just took him down. So no reanimation, no nothing, everyone's just gone. So that can still happen, but there feels like there's a decent amount of tricks in here. So you get D3 wounds back on hurt models, and then you start rezzing models after that. So that is how reanimation works. Very briefly, I will talk about, and then when we get into stratagems, we'll have you go. The only other thing is their detachment rule. It's command protocols. If your unit is led by a character, then you get +1 to hit. And that is in close combat and shooting. So as long as you have a character, there's not many units that can be led, but the ones that can be led. So warriors, immortals, and Lichguard are the main 3 units that can be led by a lot of different models. You have Lokhust Lords who can lead Lokhust Destroyers and Heavy Destroyers. And then you have a Skorpekh Lord who leads Skorpekh Destroyers. That's really it. But any of those units, if they have a leader in there, they get +1 on to hit at all times. All right. That's nice and easy. So why don't we get into some of their stratagems? And since I've been talking for a bit, we'll have you cover the first one.
Of course. So, stratagems.
You said that weird. Just so you know. You said stratagems.
Oh, I was kind of like, shoot.
Hooked on phonics word for you? Is that what happened?
Yeah. Stratagems. Anyway, so stratagems. The first stratagem is Protocol of the Eternal Guardian. It is 1 CP. It is played in any phase, whenever you want. It's when one Necron infantry character model is just destroyed, and if I'm not mistaken, it's probably reanimate. Set your model back up on the battlefield as close as possible to where it was destroyed and more than 1 inch away from all enemy models, with half of its starting remaining wounds remaining, and you can only do this once per battle. All right.
Per character,
sorry.
Yeah.
1 CP for reanimate, sure.
Yeah. Just come back with half wounds.
I just realized just destroyed. I was looking for the just destroyed or destroyed.
Yeah. So no. You have to trigger it when they are removed.
Yeah. Okay. Got
but they do come back. It is a little bit later, so that helps. The other nice part is this used to be 1 CP and on a 3-up.
Now it's just automatic.
Yes. Now you just get it, which is better. Much better.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Love it.
You're gonna have a lot of characters. This is an army that takes characters, because your army-wide rule wants you to have characters. Your detachment, I should say, but right now it's one and the same. And they do a lot for you. Their characters are actually quite good. So being able to bring them back is actually really helpful. Now, if you're bringing them back, they either were precision shotted out or there's no one else left there. But there's going to be times when you need it. Especially like I had it one time with my Skorpekh Lord. Because when he charges in, he does mortals. So someone wiped him, brought him back. He can charge in, do some mortals. So it's really, really good. Protocol Hungry Void. This is in the fight phase.
Names.
So these used to be the names of the or essentially related to the different dynasties. This was what they called their rules in there. Because what you used to have for Necrons, you would essentially choose like a protocol to be active, and these were the names of those protocols. That's why they're protocol.
Got it.
Yeah. So fight phase, when one of your units hasn't fought yet, so essentially when you're going to choose them to fight. You add 1 to the strength characteristic of the melee weapons in the unit, and if they're being led by character until the end of that phase, their AP is increased by 1. Most of these other stratagems mean if you got a character, you get a bonus. So you get +1 strength, but also +1 AP if you have a character. The only part that's kind of a shame is since it has to be in the fight phase, about quite a few of the units that can be led don't care. Like warriors don't care, mortals don't care, but your Lich Guard do, and your Skorpechs, who aren't great, but they absolutely care. So very useful, very nice, and even if you only get the other part, the +1 strength, there's enough spots where you can now go from like say 4 to a 5, or maybe a 7 to an 8, so that way you can actually start getting that one better effect on your die rolls. Good. Maybe a little more situational. Since you have so few CP, I think you really have to be careful of like, oh, this one's great, use all time. Like, no, because you just don't have the CP for that.
But I don't play Necrons. I know.
That's okay.
What are the melee ones? Lich
Guard run 2 forms. They run a more melee. They're melee always. They're either have a little more melee form or a little more defensive form.
I'm trying to see what
defensive is a little better.
Defensive. They ran defensive, so I'm just looking at what the strength of the one-handed axe is. God, I can't even. I'm still scrolling. Jesus,
it's
Christ.
Long. Yeah, doing
I'm still on leaders.
Better.
I'm still on leaders.
There's a lot of things.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. Now where? Lich Guard. Here we are.
Did you find it?
No, but there's. I guess it's called the Hyperphase Sword.
Yes. Yeah, sword and board.
You go from strength and both. Okay, so strength 8 to strength 9. It's not really a. And then strength 6 to strength 7.
The 6 to 7 with the extra AP is probably the bigger thing.
Yes, 6 to 7. I was going to say is.
And the extra AP gets you to the point the other one because you're going to run them with sword and board a lot more. And when we get to them in the future, we'll talk about why. But that's the way you're going to run them.
Oh, works on. Do flayed ones have a leader or no?
No, flayed ones aren't led. However, we will see in a little bit that there's an enhancement that within 6 inches you count as being led. So
I'm just looking at their melee stuff. That's why I'm kind of.
Flayed ones got kind of wrecked, and we'll talk about why when we get there.
But here's a good one. I know we're kind of skipping, but Skorpekh, they go from strength 7 to strength 8.
That's a big one. Skorpekh aren't quite as good as it used to be, but going from 7 to 8 is actually a very big difference in that extra AP because they'll have a Lord with them. That's a great way to take them. It's going to get you a lot. It's not bad. When I look at this, I say it is very situational, and it's very situational because you don't have many points. So you're going to have to really need it.
I like the rend more than I like the strength, believe it or not. Again, because we talk about demons, right? We talk about demons. If you remember, most of your sweeps are AP1 or AP2. Moving that to AP3, AP2 is so much bigger jump than just adding the strength. I 100% like more the rend than I do the strength.
Yeah. AP is much lower in general right now, which means if I have something that makes it stronger, I'm doing a lot more damage. All right. Why don't you talk about this Conquering Tyrant?
Conquering Tyrant. Yeah. It's done in your shooting phase. It's one Necron unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot yet that phase. And until the end of that phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a unit within half of the firing weapon's range, you can reroll the wound roll. And if you have a Necron character, this applies to the full range. Oh, okay. Ooh, reroll wounds. Reroll wounds is so good. I don't even know why I'm hesitating. Reroll wounds is so good this edition.
Yeah.
because it increases your lethality. It's funny, lethality was quote unquote tuned back.
I think it is overall. But that's more because the AP numbers tend to be a little less, and mortals are a little bit harder to get broadly, but there's some spots that do a lot.
So yeah, re-rolling wounds, especially at full range, because a lot of your weapons are 24 and higher. I don't.
There's a good amount
like the
of 24
with the pistols.
Yes, or like Reapers on Warriors are 12, but even that, getting the reroll on the wounds is really strong because a lot of the ways for the units I think you would use this on that don't naturally have any form of rerolls have like warriors on their weapons. They either have sustained hits or like lethal hits.
Yeah.
So you're already getting that. You really need it more for the wound. And I found that that's the part that I lack. When I have lethal hits, all the ones that get 6s or 5s and 6s with certain characters, hey, they've already done their job. Oh, but you're a big... you have a higher toughness. I'm not wounding well with the rest. So getting that reroll is really going to be a help to you out. I like this one a little bit more than the other one because I kind of see the army as wanting to shoot a little bit more in general, shoot and survive, rather than necessarily charging and crushing people. But all right, we have the protocol of the Undying Legions. This is your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase, just after an enemy unit has done its attacks. You take one Necron unit from your army that has one or more models destroyed as a result of that attack. So the opponent attacks you, you have at least lost one model. You activate your animation protocols, and if it's characters in there, it's D3 plus 1 instead of the normal D3. This is a great one if they're trying to plink you down a little bit. Yes, you may only do it once. There's certain characters give you some other bonuses, but we're just taking about the base right now. Yeah, you get to do it once, but they've only done 3-4 wounds. You can pop this and you can be almost full again. This is one that I do think, especially depending on the unit, that you use quite a bit. Because also, this is after they hit you. So if you're worried about battle shock, you can use this and now you no longer might be above that battle shock number for when it goes back to your turn. And now you're not worried about getting the zeroed out.
Nice.
Yeah. This is a strong one. Most stratagems are good, but since you don't have any points, they really have to do something big, and I think this one does. All right. Sudden Storm. Tell us about this storm.
That one sounds cool. Okay, it's movement phase. One Necron unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, ranged weapons in the model unit have the assault ability. And if it's a Necron character in it, you can reroll advance. Until the end of the phase. Yeah, reroll advance rolls. I should make this bigger.
You should make it.
I wish you could see it on my screen.
You're also like putting your hand in front of you for whatever reason.
But there we go. Oh my Jesus! Yeah, that makes it so much better. Yeah, reroll advance rolls made for your unit. Okay, this is the weird one. Okay, so you know how it's like when you lead, right? It seems like when you look for the character, that's the stronger ability, right?
Usually,
I feel like they flipped this one. Is that just me? I feel like the reroll advance rolls should have been the effect, and the weapons equipped or having assault should have been the leader because that's so much better. But either way, 1 CP for assault, especially. I mean, I'll put it this way: are you really running MSU blobs with Necron warriors or immortals?
No, with warriors, no. I think you take max because otherwise you're far too squishy, and you're not going to get your animation because 10 warriors are not terribly tough to kill.
Being able to advance, reroll that advance if you need to for free. And then now it's assault, and you hit on 3s, right? Please tell me you still hit on 3s.
So remember, so there's 2 things to keep in mind. One, if you have a character, you hit it +1. So warriors would therefore hit on 3s, immortals would hit on 2s.
Interesting. But warriors would then go back to hitting on 4s if they advance and have now assault with this stratagem.
I don't think assault lowers your ballistic skill anymore.
Oh, really?
No. I literally looked it up earlier, and I'm staring at assault right now. It doesn't lower your ballistic skill.
Oh. Well, so this is just a great stratagem. All right, never mind then.
Yes.
Look at me for
The only thing with a stratagem like this that you have to keep in mind is that it's, if you want the bonus, it's on a lead unit, and there's very few units that can be lead. Again, we have a piece of war gear that's going to help out with this enhancement. But making your weapons assault can be useful. Immortals, one of their weapons is not assault. I always forget, warriors, they list as Necron warriors. So that way they screw up where I'm trying to look. Neither of their weapons are, so being able to run them, getting the reroll on that charge, and then assault, now you can actually, if you're, say, using Reapers, which are 12-inch range, now you have your 5-inch move and a reroll on that bit, so you're going to get more of like 8 or so inches. Now you got about 20-inch effective range. Because honestly, I'll say right now, I like the Reaper better than the Gal. The Reaper better than the Flayer. That's me, though. But no, overall, it's good. It is nice. Probably very situational, but good overall. And Vengeful Stars. So, it's your opponent's shooting phase after an enemy unit has resolved its attacks. So, they've shot at you. They're done shooting. You have to have a unit from your army that has one or more models destroyed from that. So, they destroy a model or more. You can shoot as if it was your shooting phase, but you have to target the unit that just attacked it. It can only do so if the enemy unit is an eligible target, so you have to actively be able to shoot them. If a Necron character is leading it, until the end of the phase, your ranged weapons have ignored cover. So you get to shoot back. This also is what really helps when you're taking a look at, say, large warrior blobs or anything like that. If they're close enough and they want to shoot you, you have ways to get lethal hits on 5s on that. So you might actually be able to pump a reasonable amount of damage back. It misses some of the better ones, and I know why they did this, because you have to have a model destroyed. So any of your big things will not, because they're single models. But pretty good on some of your smaller or multi-model targets if they're going after Lokhust Destroyers. Your Lokhust Destroyers have a really good gun for mid-infantry. So if it's mid-infantry that shoots at you, all of your stuff shoots back. So overall, I like their stratagems. I think they're nicely delineated, very different. Good reasons to use all of them, and there's no like absolute winner at all times. Like the character one, it might be the strongest, but you need to lose a character anyway. So, but stratagem wise, I like it.
Yeah, they're all 1 CP, which is really, really nice.
Yes, they kept it cheap, which is good. All appropriately costed, I think. Nothing there I would ever put it to. If any of it was 2, I would never do it. Maybe bringing the character back, but that's still tough. All right. Takes us to enhancements.
I'll go first since you're the last one.
Yeah,
the Veil of I love the Veil of Darkness. In every edition, the Veil of Darkness was so damn cool. Mm-hmm. Let's see what it is. So Necron models only. Wait, obviously? Wait, what? Okay.
So my guess, all of these say that, but I think that's true of all enhancements that they say it's those models.
Maybe because we did demons and I'm used to like Khorne, Tzeentch, and Slaanesh.
Yeah.
But it says Necron, so I'm like, is there... Because I'm thinking, at least that was specifically Khorne, specifically Slaanesh. I'm thinking here, like, this is just book Necron. I'm not...
No, this is just how they wrote them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once per battle, at the end of your opponent's turn... Oh, I know what this is going to be. You're going to tell. Sorry. Once per battle, at the end of your opponent's turn, if the bearer unit is not within engagement range, of enemy units, the bearer can use this enhancement. If it does, remove that unit from the battlefield. Then in the reinforcement step of your next movement phase, set it up anywhere in the battlefield more than 9 inches away horizontally from all enemy units. I love this. I use this. And the reason, because I play Custodians and Alaris have this ability inbuilt, and it's just fan-freaking-tastic. And this enhancement, please tell me it's cheap, though. I know I had the points
enhancements are all pretty cheap. This one is 20.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, yeah, if I had 20 points, absolutely would take this. Nothing is more satisfying than pulling like a double secondary where you need corners or you need to be in the enemy deployment zone, and you just pick them up at the end of... Because remember, this is at the end of your opponent's movement. This is end of your opponent's turn. Sorry, apologies. End of their turn. I was thinking rapid ingress. Apologies. You pick them up at the end of their turn and you just deep strike them back down again. Actually, hold on.
Yeah.
This is not a deep strike.
Technically, no.
So you can do this turn 1. Maybe. Damn it! I don't have the card deck in front of me.
So it's
how it's worded.
Yes.
I need the card deck to see it. Hold on. I might have it.
The big thing is it's because you are in your you essentially do get put into reserves for all intents and purposes. So I believe the way they've worded it now, as well as through designer commentaries, that no, turn one, you can't do it.
Okay, got it. Unless you went second.
So there was discussion about that as well. And
I'm trying to understand that one, by the way, and it failed on me. So
I think overall, the intention to me, I believe, is that no, turn one, you can't do any weird shenanigans like
that's
this.
What I'm thinking.
No matter how you come in.
That's
because
what I thought.
their designer commentary related to when they did additional rule stuff said that, because I was in a discussion earlier today. I don't think it was this. It was another ability similar, and people are like, no, if you read the designer,
they're like this. The reason is custodians were arguing this. I know Gene Stealer cults were arguing this.
Yeah.
There's actually a couple that have this. It's just, again, it's sporadically put throughout different armies.
Yeah. I fully believe for the moment, at least, that it's no. And I think it's because the word it's essentially meant to be, you cannot come in from any form of reserve, whatever you may call reserve, in turn one. And honestly, it was related to one of the demon ones. That's what it was. I was actually in the demon group, and they were talking
Demons
about that.
Can do it. They can do it with 2 units.
Yes.
Yeah, they're okay.
But it's the same sort of thing. It's like, no, they don't want you to do it on turn one, so just don't.
I agree. No, I'm not even arguing it. I absolutely 100% agree.
So Hypermaterial Ablator. Let me move the screen so we can see that. Of course, you have to be Necron. While the bearer is leading a unit, models in the unit have the stealth ability. In addition, each time a ranged attack targets the bearer's unit, if they're not within 12 inches, you have cover. So you naturally, they are -1 to hit you because of stealth. And if they're outside of 12, you have +1 to your save.
Oh, I love this too.
Yeah, this one is
-1 hit is -1 hit is so big because there's so little +1 to hit anymore.
Not for Necron, but for other people, yes.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say no. I besides Necron, I actually, the only thing I've seen is the Bloodthirster special ability. Yeah. I cannot think of anyone else that gives +1 except Necron. Maybe rerolls to hit or rerolls to 1, but +1 to hit.
I haven't looked through enough. I'm sure there is, but it's not
probably
prevalent. Somewhere. Maybe in a certain army they have it a bunch, like Necrons or someone else, but it's not prevalent. Not the way it used to be. Yeah, no, this one is definitely good. It's, what did I say? It was 25? Yeah, 25. You're going to have characters, so that's not the problem. We're going to see that there are ways for Necrons to have 2 characters in a unit, because essentially the Cryptechs work like lieutenants do for Space Marines. So you may have one and a higher up. In this, they're noble models or noble units. So you could actually have this with one of the other useful ones because you have it on your Lord or Overlord instead. I think the big thing is you just got to be able to have the points aside. But if you can have a spare 25 points, the -1 to hit is pretty big. And if they're far distance, getting that benefit to cover +1 to your save can be pretty good, especially in addition where AP is generally down. Haven't taken this one, I don't think, mostly just because I just wasn't able to fit it and I didn't want tons of various upgrades that I had to remember as well. But the one I take, the auto take, is the next one anyway.
Coronal?
Yeah, Sovereign Coronal.
All right, Coronal. It is
30 points for this thing.
It's an aura. I don't get it. Why do they signify? Or it doesn't matter. Necron models only. While a friendly Necron unit is within 6 inches of the bearer, it counts as being led by a Necron character model. Oh yeah.
Yep. So that's a +1 to hit. And that means if using any of those stratagems, if they're close enough, they get the full bonus of essentially almost all of our stratagems.
And remember, ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned this with demons, and I'll mention it again. If 6 inches, it's not wholly within the unit. You have to literally just touch the micrometer of the base of one model from that unit, and the unit gets the benefit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Necrons have tons of units, and they have much like most other codexes or indices, this isn't surprising, but they don't have tons of units that can be led by models. Outside of like Space Marines. Space Marines just because of the amount they have. But everyone else, yeah, you got like 3, maybe 4 units that can be led. Since the whole bonus of Necrons is to be led, this almost feels like an auto-include to me, because for 30 points, I can now spread it out to other units that either I'm, 1, not allowed to buy a leader for, or 2, can't afford it, don't have it, something happened, for a variety of reasons. And that 6-inch bubble is pretty big. So I try to put this on whatever character I think is either going to be most in the middle, if I'm going more shooting, or it is in that right sort of position. So I might put it on my Overlord, who's going, Lord or Overlord, that's going up with a unit of warriors, because he's going to be right in the middle of the mix. I've put it on Skorpekh Lord before, if he's going to be up there with other charging style units, so he can help support them. It really depends on exactly what you want to do, but for 30 points, this is giving you your army rule. All right, last one, nice and cheap for 10 points, Sempiternal Weave. Bearer gets 4 Feel No Pain. If you got a spare 10, you can't do anything with it. This is an edition where you're not allowed to buy individual models. You're buying full units. So you might have a spare 10 points that you physically cannot spend anywhere. This is something.
Yep.
The big problem with it, it's just that character. And characters, unless it's precision, characters only care about their wound profile when they're alone. So if the game is going well, you'll never need it. And if the game's going so bad that
or if they challenge you, or if they challenge you for 1 CP, 2 CP, I forgot how many CP it is.
I'm not sure.
It's one of the general stratagems.
I'm not sure I even noticed that there was a challenge one, but in the things I've went so far,
there's a challenge stratagem. I've used it.
Okay, so in that sort of sort of piece, but it's nice if you happen to have those 10 points, but otherwise I wouldn't use it. Yeah, now I'm not sure, but okay, however many points it is. All right. Your favorite, I'm guessing, is Veil of Darkness. That's the one you really like.
I do. It's just so I prefer utility, although the Sovereign Coronal obviously is my favorite. That is utility to the max. But if I had to choose a second place, definitely Veil of Darkness. In fact, I'd say Veil of Darkness because of how the game is played right now and the amount it's almost you're focused on gaining secondary points rather than tabling your opponent or killing.
Yeah.
It's almost funny. I was watching the Tacoma thing and they've been saying, you don't want to kill your opponent on turn 1 because then you don't score secondaries.
Yes.
You don't auto max to 100 anymore.
No.
So if you kill your opponent turn 1, turn 2, and you pull, let's say, I don't know, Big Guns Never Tire, 0 points. Congratulations.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Veil of Darkness and Sovereign Coronal, I would dare say are my auto takes.
Yeah. All of them I think are pretty good. Sovereign Coronal, I think you have to take. Hypermaterial Ablator is probably the other one I want to take, but that just might be throwing a few more points at a unit that I've already thrown tons of points in to live. Not that that's a bad thing. It absolutely helps them do that. But do they need that extra bit? Depending on the unit, no. But all right. So now begins the long part of characters. Necrons have a lot of characters. I don't even have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, like 17 characters. Or things that count like characters, Catacomb, Command Barge. Okay, we can call it as we will, but they have quite a few. So we might just get through characters, we'll have to see. And they start with mostly named characters. So the epics, but they go back and forth. So for anyone watching along, I'm going to resize the window to 165 because that works really well to be able to see everything all at once. And I took the last thing. So you have Imotekh the Stormlord. You there? I know you're there because I see you.
Yeah,
you can't hide behind a custodian this time.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking about something.
What are you thinking about?
I was trying to see if there was a melee character that would want the Feel No Pain 4+ ability. So I was scrolling.
Szeras wants to kill people in close combat.
But Szeras is named.
Yep, you're right. Because he's the one that would want it. That's exactly, he's also a lone operative.
You mentioned that, and now and I mentioned the challenge. So I was just really, and you got so many goddamn characters. So the scrolling was taking forever while you were talking.
No,
I literally did not finish as you were talking. That's how many characters are.
Where I would put it, if I have spare 10 points and I don't have something else on him, would probably be my Skorpekh Lord.
Yeah,
because he tends to be the most killy out of the non-named characters. He's got a good amount of wounds. He's got a better toughness in general, so it fits him a little more. And that's a unit. That is a unit that's going to want to be in combat. The unit he's with, where if you're taking Lich Guard, yes, but Lich Guard, if they're taking Sword and Board, my real goal with them is usually survive and maybe counter charges or something like that. I'm not worried about hitting like your heaviest target.
Sorry, that's where my mind went. That's why I went so silent.
Yes.
And I was like, had my focus look, because I'm looking, I'm like, where would I put the... Anyway, sorry.
That's okay.
What was your question? I literally went off the deep end.
You're talking about Imotekh the Stormlord for his 105 points.
Oh, Imotekh. Yes, Imotekh the Stormlord. So, movement 5. Stupid question. Is movement 5 the general?
Yes.
For Necrons? Okay.
Yeah, they are
So, movement 5 and toughness 5, I'm assuming, is there now general? Necron warriors are toughness 5?
For quite a few things, yes. It's much more common to be 5 or maybe a little bit above than 4 anymore.
So, movement 5, toughness 5, 2 up save, only 5 wounds.
He's 105 points. Characters don't tend to have a lot of wounds like this.
6 up leadership, OC1 is really got no abilities. He's got no faction. He does lead.
No, he's got abilities.
Immortals, Lich Guard, Necron warriors. Okay. So, abilities. No, I meant like core.
Oh, yes. No, nothing like that. No.
Yeah, because sometimes you'll have like feel no pain up there or stealth or he's got none of that.
No.
So he's got 2 abilities. 1, Grand Strategist. At the beginning of your command phase, you gain 1 CP. All right. 105 auto take immediately.
No, not an auto take.
No, there's a reason. Okay, so hold on. I'll get back. Lord of the Storm. Once per battle at the end of your command phase, you can use this ability. If it does, roll 1d6 for each enemy unit within 12 inches of this model. On a 2 to 5, suffer D3. Mortal wounds on a 6, D3 plus 3. And that's once per game, so meh. Staff of the Destroyer. So he's got 2 ranged weapons. Gauntlet of Fire, which is a D6 flamer. Strength 5, AP minus 1, 1 damage. And Staff of the Destroyer, which is 18 inches, 3 shots. Strength 6, AP 3. Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah. Strength 6, AP 3, 2 damage.
Yeah.
And it's the Staff that Destroys also a melee weapon with devastating wounds, 4 attacks, 2+ to hits, strength 6, AP 3, 2 damage. Honestly, okay, I know you. Okay, maybe not auto take.
No, not auto take.
But for 105 points, just literally gain the extra CP around. That's I'm saving 105 points for him.
Well,
most of the time.
So here's the other thing you got to keep in mind. This is the first of like 17 characters to talk about.
True.
There's going to be quite a few where you're like, I kind of want that ability.
Yeah, true. Okay, understood. But that is just already strong as hell because CP. Oh god, there's so many times where I'm so CP starved because you only get 1 per battle round.
Yeah, one per turn.
Player turn. Sorry,
player
that's
turn.
Right. Yeah. I hate that it's called. I wish it was called battle round and then turn for the full turn.
Yeah, the other way around. Yeah,
I know it's so. I think Sigmar reverses it. Is the what annoys me?
No. I believe it's the same.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, for each player turn, gaining an additional C. That's 2 CP a battle round.
It's your command phase.
Oh, it's only your
command phase.
Okay. Less excited. So, still excited. But
if it was on both, I think I would agree with you as an almost auto include.
That's where my reaction came.
Yeah.
I didn't see the your. I saw.
No. Unfortunately, it's yours. Now it is still really good.
They're still really good.
And overall, he's pretty good. And he's cheap. And part of what you have to think of these points are for is to give +1 to the unit. But the other key is you got a lot of characters. And you're going to run out of units to put those characters in. So, like, you got to figure out, well, how many warrior blobs do I really want? How many immortal squads do I really want? How many Lich Guard do I really want? Because if you want, like, oh, man, I like 5 of these characters. Well, you better have 5 units then.
I think there was a list that ran like 30 Lich Guards, so
I could see it.
Put him in a unit of Lich Guard. Ain't no one going to touch him because no one wants to charge him.
No, we're going to see that when we get to things like that, there's other ones that might do more for them, or at least some Cryptech you might want to throw in there as well. So, because we're going to notice all the epic guys, they're noble as well. Most of the other things are noble. You're either a Cryptech, a noble, or you're something a little bit in between. Though not much in between. You're like a Barge. All right, but overall, we do like him. And then we're going to go to Orikan the Diviner. A lot of their characters just have a lot of personality, because there's not personality in the rest of the army. The rest of the army, like I said, they're soulless, mindless. So their characters are all very over the top. If you read any of their stuff, they're usually a bit crazy. So Orikan... I missed what you said.
I said a bit, and I started laughing.
Yeah, well, that's true. Orikan the Diviner. So this boy's 80 points. So he is cheaper. We're going to see his mostly probably because of his weapon. He can lead Immortals, Lich Guard, and Warriors. And as it says for this one, you can attach this model to one of the above units, even if one Royal Warden or Noble model has already been attached. Orikan the Diviner is a Cryptech. That's really what it is. So he has the Cryptech rule. All right. He is move 5, of course. He's toughness 4, 4-up save on 4 wounds. He does have a 4-up invul. 6 leadership, counts as 1 OC. He is the Master Chronomancer. He is a type of Chronomancer, so he's the Master one. When he's leading a unit, models in that unit have a 4-up invul save. So he gives a unit 4-up invul save. If you want to run not Sword and Board Immortals, he's a good thing in there because he gives the unit the 4-up that the board normally would. And the stars are right. Once per battle, at the start of the fight phase, this model can use the ability. If it does, till the end of the fight phase, you triple his attacks and strength characteristics of his Staff of Tomorrow. And every successful wound made for him is a critical wound, and he has devastating wounds. So once a game, he will... So normally, he is Staff of Tomorrow's 2 attacks on 3s, strength 4, AP -3, D3 damage. Decent. Not amazing, but decent. But once a game, he can be 6 attacks on strength 12, and all of his successes. And on 12, if you're not fighting a vehicle, probably almost on 2s, they're all going to be mortals. He's 80 points. He's pretty cheap. We're going to see Chronomancers do a little bit different, but he is pretty cheap, and he does some good stuff.
That's a pretty good skill too.
Yeah, and for 80 points, that's pretty cheap. Invul save on your full unit for 80 points is not a bad feeling. And his Staff of Tomorrow, if you're not putting him in like a Lich Guard to go hunt something, it can be a nice deterrent against the thing that comes at you. Like you're leading a bunch of warriors and then you decide to Hulk out. Okay, you got your decent unit charging in here. I'm going to make you pay for it because we're going to do quite a bit against that. Because with their main ability, their main rule, and I'll scroll up for it. If memory serves, and it may not, because the edition is new, so I do want to check.
No, you're good.
When a Necron character model is leading this unit, and remember, when your character joins it, they're part of the unit. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack, they get +1. It counts the character as well. So his on 3s is really on 2s. So once per game, he can be 6 attacks on almost 2s and 2s for D3 mortals each time. That's really, really good. And for 80 points, that's going to do you some good. So your problem's going to be you're going to run out of spots for characters, or you're going to want so many characters you can't fit them. That's Necron's biggest things. You don't want to take 600 points in characters.
No, you don't.
But
still, you kind of do.
You want to, but like that's not necessarily going to help your game that much. But I could see this guy, like I said, warrior unit. I think would be really nice for him as give them survivability. And
I kind of like him with the staff Lich Guard.
Yes.
So that way they get the 4-up still, but they're still deadly in combat, in my opinion.
And then he can turn on his power in the turn when you really need to make sure you help carve through something. I think those are the 2 spots. I wouldn't put him in Immortals. You don't have enough wounds. You don't get quite enough warriors. At least you got enough bodies. And Lich Guard, you have enough wounds, and they're a unit that's going to get mixed up. So, all right.
Who's next?
Next one should be Anrakyr.
Yep, Anrakyr the Traveller. This is the one who has like he had the arrow or something. The tachyon arrow. Yes.
Yes.
All right. All right.
Tachyon arrow.
All right. So, first of all, movement 5, toughness 5, 2 up save, 6 wounds. All right. So pretty normal for a named leader here. Lord of the
Pyrean Eternals.
Pyrean, yeah. Lord of the Pyrean Eternals. While this model is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to the wound roll.
Useful, but you got to keep in mind what he's allowed to lead.
Oh, what is he allowed to lead? Hold on. Oh, just Immortals. Ah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, that's not bad because the base Immortal gun is like strength 5, but yeah, warriors. You're not putting it in something where you're like making that giant jump.
Yeah. All right. Mind of the Machine. At the start of the opponent's shooting phase, select one enemy vehicle within 12 inches. That unit must take a leadership test. If the test is passed, up to the end of the phase, each time the model in the unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. And if it's failed, it's not eligible to shoot. Now, this is an ability right here. Because there's no, like, I thought it was just going to say nothing happens.
No, right? You get something
There's
good.
What is, you're fucked either way.
Yep.
Either subtract 1 a hit, or just don't shoot. Although 12 inches is kind of short, so there's your bear. All right. He's got two weapons. He's got his tachyon arrow, which is sadly 1 shot. Yes. Oh, man. Well, it's not even like...
No, it's not even that nuts. I would be fine. Lower the strength a little bit of the AP and let me shoot it a couple times. Or make it like... I mean, we're talking about...
Devastating Wounds 2+.
Or you know, we're talking about models that literally can, you know, carry the power of the sun in a cube.
Just make it mortal wounds.
Yeah, make it mortal wounds.
It's 1 shot.
Yeah, make it absolutely insane. Because you could still miss. You could still fail the wound. There's so many ways this could fail. Make it nuts. Because you only get it once anyway. But
all right. It's 1 attack. Hits on 2, strength 16, AP 5, D6 +2. I see this just basically you shoot this at a tank with no invulnerable save. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Or maybe just pick up a knight. Not pick up a knight, but just shoot at a knight. And then he's got a War Scythe, which strength at 4 attacks, 2s to hit, strength 8, AP 3, 2 damage.
Yeah, devastating wounds, which is nice.
Devastating wounds, yeah. No, it's just okay.
Yeah.
A lot of these characters are great buff units, man.
Yes.
Such great boofs.
I mean, they make it where they have to. One, characters in this edition definitely are buff in general. And the whole point of it is you want characters, so you got to make them look attractive. He's 95 points. Oh, your camera went funny.
Oh, sorry.
There you go. That's all right. So far, the ones we talked about, he's the one I'm least excited about. I like the idea of Mind in the Machine. And again, it's one of those abilities where when it goes off, you're going to remember that game. And you're going to play like 7 games where it does nothing because you either don't get close enough. That guy who shuts down vehicles, get him.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
They make the test. In this army, there's not a lot of ways.
Knights are vehicles?
Yes.
Okay, this is a great anti-knight guy then.
Because there is a model that gives -1 to battle shock.
Oh yeah, shutting down a knight is big.
Honestly, even -1 a knight is still pretty good. Shutting down's even better.
Yeah, shooting phase. Okay.
Yeah, shooting phase.
And it's for the phase, right? Yes, until the end of the phase. All right.
Yeah, it is very good. He's one of the ones I find the least exciting for the moment, just because I don't like when my ability is like a really big gamble. That's me though. All right. I am putting a timestamp down. Actually, maybe we'll get a little further than I thought. Some of these characters are going somewhat fast.
Yeah, they're very quick.
They're good, but there's not tons to say. We'll have more to say once we get to some of the units they lead, and then we can kind of go back and talk about the way we want to throw some of these guys. Vargard Obyron. Let me find...
I'll be right back while you talk about him.
Yep, that's absolutely fine.
You can start talking. Talking.
He is 85 points. He's, of course, move 5, toughness 5. He's a 2-up save, 5 wounds, leadership 6. He's got 1 OC. Vargard Obyron is Nemesor Zahndrekh's bodyguard. So he has the rule that if Zahndrekh is in the unit, he may go into it. And like I said, if that unit's destroyed, they become separate units, of course. That's the normal thing. But he may go in a unit there. For himself, he has Ghostwalk Mantle. This is same name as before. A little bit different ability, but same name. when he's in a unit, the models in the unit have fights first. He can go into a unit of Lich Guard. I don't care about it with my warriors. I don't care about it with my immortals. My Lich Guard do care. So fights first is really, really big there. That means either you're charging and tending to fight first, or your opponent charged you and you're fighting with that unit first.
Yeah.
Vargard's duty, while this model is in the same unit as Zahndrekh, character models in that unit have 4-up, feel no pain. So he gives himself and Zahndrekh 4-up, feel no pain if they're both in the same unit.
We didn't talk about Nemesor Zahndrekh yet, right?
No, he's not. He is actually, he's 2 away.
You want to skip to him after this?
Yeah, we'll skip to him afterwards because it makes sense. Yeah. If you're taking them together. He also has a War Scythe, same exact 4 attacks, just like we talked about. Strength 8, AP -3, 2 damage.
Precision, though.
He does do precision. That's the extra bonus that he personally gets. He gets devastating wounds, but he does have precision. And he was 85 points.
Man, a lot of it. You said don't spend 600 on leaders, but like, come on.
So, yes, but here's the problem. Let's say you spend that 600. At a 2K list, you now have a lot less units. Like, okay, this unit's really good. Okay, they get fights first, and maybe they got Zahndrekh, and they got some other cool abilities. All that's nice. But if you can take that unit down, because I'm only putting them in Lich Guard, if you can take the unit down or do enough damage to them, or you just play keep away, I'm putting too many points. I always concern if you just spend way too many points in utility pieces. And like I said, you have to take enough units for them to go in. Some of these characters, you're not going to want them in Warriors because they don't do anything good. So you want this guy in Lich Guard. Lich Guard are more expensive. And you're not going to want to take a 5-man squad of Lich Guard. That's not enough. 5 men, you're going to get them wiped off the board. You're going to lose the usefulness of this character. So you put him in 10-man squad. That's starting to run you up on points. Oh, this other one you want. Well, he probably wants to be Lich Guard. You need another 10-man squad. It stacks up. You know what? If someone wants to run tons and tons of characters, go for it. But I think you're going to find that you're missing some teeth in the army. All right, so we're going to skip Szeras for a moment.
Cool model, by the way.
He is a cool model. I don't have any of the main characters.
Oh, no, Zahndrekh. Why is he dabbing?
Because he's fancy like that.
He's literally dabbing.
He's the one who thinks he's still Necron tier.
Oh my God,
he's crazy. Yeah, he thinks it's still the old days.
So I would say toughness 5, 6 wounds. Yeah, it seems like the same normal Overlord. All right, so transient how many points is he, by the way?
He's 85.
Oh, still cheap. Jesus.
He's cheap for the Oberon.
170 for the pair.
Yes.
All right. So
no, wait. It was 85 and was it 85 and 95?
Oh, I thought it was 85 and 65. Sorry.
Oh, wait. Did I say? Let me take a look. Did I say 65? 85. Sorry. No, actually, my apologies. They're both 85, so 170. Yeah.
Oh, 170. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. They're both 85.
So while this model is leading a unit at the start of your command phase, roll 1d6. Until the start of your next command phase, weapons equipped by the models in that unit gain the following. So they can get sustained hits 1 on a 1 to 2, lethal hits on a 3 to 4, devastating wounds on oh my God. Devastating wounds on a 5 to 6. And then once per battle, after your opponent uses a stratagem, if this model's on the battlefield, it can use this ability, and if it does until the end of the battle, the CP cost of your opponents must pay to use that stratagem again is increased by 1.
He Fate Weavers you.
Vect. No,
that's Fate Weaver has that ability as well because we did that the other week.
Also, I played against someone who does this too.
Has Drew
oh my God. No. I was playing him literally on Friday. Tyler.
So some space
Bjorn does it. Bjorn does it. Okay.
There's going to be more than one model that does it, but I just know it from there.
All right, so Staff of Light, 3 attacks, 3s to hit, strike 5, AP 2, 1 damage, and then you could boop someone. Okay, he's not a melee character.
No, he's not. That's not his purpose.
Oh man, okay. So if you're going to take him, you absolutely take the pair.
I agree. I think you can take Obyron without him, but I don't think you take Zahndrekh without Obyron.
Obyron, what does Obyron lose if you don't take him again?
The 4 feel no pain.
No, that's so good.
Well, no. But let's keep in mind that's only going to matter if someone's challenged you or positioning you out. Because once the unit is gone and it's them, they're split. They don't get to stay together. So you lose it at that moment. It's not that it's bad, but what he does, giving fights first to the unit and him having a good melee profile, to me, speaks for itself. This guy, I want the extras, because I'll tell you right now, if you want to put him in a unit of Lich Guard, if you take Sword and Board, all those results are good. If instead you take the War Scythe are already devastating wounds.
Yeah, you don't get double devastating wounds.
Yeah, so
honestly, you just stick him with the shield no matter what.
I think you would. In this case, I think you would. Although you kind of want those other two
also
a lot more on the War Scythe.
Slight side note. I know we didn't talk about it, but counter tactics is probably one of the most powerful abilities in the game right now because of how little CP generation there is, and because of the developers' comment. Oh, now you can see me moving my hands like that. Oh God, this
it's almost
is so
like you're Italian.
Yeah, it's Cuban. That's why I had my camera off. God damn it. Because of the developer's commentary, there are some people that reduce stratagems to 0, right? And some people thought, doesn't matter if you vect me, I'm still 0. No. What happens is you reduce the stratagem to 0, then you increase it by 1.
Yeah.
So no matter what, you're still paying 1 CP for that stratagem, which can make or break you. Or you're paying 2, 3, 4 CP, whatever it is that it got increased to. Out of the ones we've had so far, there's so many characters, so I'm like
there's a lot
as we talk.
Yeah,
I think he's actually my favorite so far, believe it or not.
Because of that?
Yes.
Okay.
The 1 CP in your command phase is really powerful.
Yes.
Harming your opponent is even more powerful, and then the fact that he buffs the Lich Guard with that those special abilities, and you take him with Oberon. I'm already counting him as 170, by the way. That's why I'm doing this.
I agree. I think if you're taking him, I think you put Oberon.
You take 170. So for 170, taking the pair and then putting him in a Lich Guard unit with shields, that is a dangerous unit that I don't even want to fight.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the problem with fight first is like, I don't want to charge you because you fight first. You don't want to charge me because I fight first. It's a stupid kind of standstill. But that being said, I think the pair right now are up there on my top of so far that we talked about.
Yeah. What I will say, because I want to make sure this is clear, because it might not have been our discussion so far. This guy does not have to go to Lich Guard because his abilities that he gives out, one of these effects, is not close combat. It's just your weapons. So he does do it to your shooting attacks as well.
Ooh.
So,
hold on.
So that is something, but things to keep in mind, Necron warriors already have lethal hits on both of their pieces. So that means 1/3 of the time you don't. And let's face it, lethal hits makes devastating wounds less useful because I have less in the pool of my successes left to go for. Sustained hits 1 would be nice. So there is a little bit there. I'm not saying it's bad, but there is a little bit there.
I was going to say, you still take it with the Lich Guard.
Yeah.
Anytime it's the same problem you had with the Lich Guard with the double-handed weapon. I don't want to double up on an ability because I lose literally 1/3 of the randomness.
Yeah. And Immortals, the blasters have lethal hits. The carbines have sustained hits too. So it's
literally nothing.
Yeah. I mean, you can get some good. And if you happen to get devastating wounds on the one that, on the sustained hits too, that's really nice. But I'd still rather it in Lich Guard. I'm going to get a lot more play in Lich Guard. Okay. So we got to go back to Szeras. If you like the other ones, you're going to like this guy. He is, from everything that's talked about, sort of the best. But we will get to that. I got to look up his points. Where is he? He's 220.
He Illuminor? Oof.
No.
He's thick.
Yeah, he's expensive. All right, he is move 7, so fastest thing we've seen so far. Toughness 8, one of the toughest things we've seen so far. One of the toughest things that's not a full vehicle, even this man's like a half vehicle. 2 up save, he's 9 wounds, he's got 6, and he's 3 points. 350 points. So, for this guy, he is the first character we have that does not lead a unit. So, Illuminator. While he's within 3 inches of one or more friendly Necron units, he has Lone Operative. So you can't target him in shooting outside of 12 as long as there's someone else nearby. He essentially has like 9th edition bodyguard.
Yeah.
Mechanical augmentation and aura. While friendly Necron battle line, your battle line are your warriors and your immortals. Unit within 6 inches of this model. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack, improve your AP by 1. And each time an attack targets that unit, worsen the AP by 1. So anytime you're making an attack, you are +1 AP, they're -1 AP. And 6-inch bubble. His last thing, his Atomic Energy Manipulator. At the end of the fight phase, if he's destroyed 1 or more models, he adds 3 to that mechanical augmentation aura. So he can...
Does that keep going or no?
So... I'm not 100% sure. By the way it's worded, you're adding just 3 to the range.
It doesn't say each time, in my opinion. That's why
I'm back and forth on that one. I'm not sure. I can see it both ways, because I can also see the argument being it's the same rule affecting it again, but you've reset your number. And if you've reset your number, you should be able to use a rule again that's just resetting the number. I'm personally not sure. I haven't looked to see what the consensus is on that.
Okay.
So for his weapons, he's got an Eldritch Lance, 3 attacks, Blitz skill 3, strength 9, AP -3, 3 damage. So he's got a pretty strong weapon there. And his melee, he has his Lance, which is 4 attacks now, same profile otherwise, and his Impaling Leg. So he's got 4 attacks with his legs that hits on 3s, strength 6, AP -1, 1 damage. He needs to kill models in close combat, which he has the profile to do. Depending on the unit, of course. He gives a lot of change of AP around. Your Reapers going from warriors from strength 5, AP -1, 1 damage to being -2 means I don't care that I'm 1 damage anymore because I'm actually going to get wounds in reliably. Lessening the AP is huge because this army's goal is survival. You know, this is an attrition army, so anything that does that is a very good attrition, and they're not going to shoot him out. So even if you can only manipulate it once, a 9-inch bubble around this guy is huge. That's the better part of the whole middle of the board if you're out there.
That's sticking between 2 20-man blobs of Necron warriors.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah, he's going to make them a lot better, and we're going to see the things you're going to put in with the warrior as well, because you're going to put a little something in with them as well. Makes them a lot better. He's not getting hurt. And if he can help with the counter charge if something starts getting close. Because he can fight his way out of the wet paper bag. Which warriors will not. He's, by most people's accounts, one of the strongest characters we have. And I do see it. I think utility-wise, for that sort of army of survivability.
That aura is already pretty damn good.
Yes. You need to build an army for it. You need multiple giant warrior blobs and stuff like that. But if you're building that style of army, this guy's going to be a tax that you're going to pay. All right.
Oh, man. Oh, do I get my favorite? Yeah, I do. Trazyn.
You just like him because it almost sounds like Trajan. And that
no,
just lets you talk
Trazyn. So I've read the books. That's why.
Okay.
And he is literally hilarious. I mean, I hate to say that he's a troll because it's such an overused trope. And
no, he is. He's 100% a troll.
But he is legitimately a troll. And I think the only record of someone sticking up their middle finger in the Warhammer novels. I can't think of any other time someone stuck up the middle finger in the Warhammer novels. Except for Alea. I figured out a quote. I don't know if you're. There's one part of the books where Alea, Valerian's sister of Silence buddy, she gets waved at, and she basically throws the person through china cabinets.
Nice. So, well, if you can't use your words, you use your actions.
Exactly. Valerian does like a big face bob. Anyway, Trazyn the Infinite, basically the Pokemon Master. For those who don't know the lore, just slight side note, Trazyn collects. He's basically the collector from Marvel.
Yeah.
But to an extreme, the collector is I don't think existed since the beginning of the damn universe, and this guy did, or at least close to. And he collects everything from Chaos Space Marines to relics to demons to it's a joke. I think he has con in there. I don't even know. Point is, he's nuts. He literally will during battle in the books throw like Pokemon balls of just random shit so he can like escape.
Well, that's where isn't that how like Inquisitor Greyfax came back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's literally how Greyfax came back.
Yeah, it was in like one of the stories. He's like, "Hey, I got a bunch of old ass Inquisition dudes. Here you go." And she came out and she's like, wait, you're a living saint? No. And then they end up becoming like friends or whatever. Like they end up working out, but at first she's like, wait, this is sacrilege.
The joke is that they became lovers, but
yeah.
But yeah, no, she almost killed Celestine.
Yes.
Because back in her time,
yeah, the idea of, you're a saint? Yeah, that means I need to get rid of you because that's not real. Yeah. Oh.
That's so funny. Anyway,
he's 75 points. So talk about the 75-point man.
Oh, wow, that's already cheap.
Yeah, he's cheap. Most of the characters are cheap.
Yeah. While this model's in a unit at the end of your command phase, if that unit is within range of an objective mark you control, it remains in your control until the opponent. Yeah, okay. So it's
he stickies your objectives.
Oh, that's really, really good. Sticky objectives are so powerful this edition too. Because you could, for those who don't know sticky objectives, sorry, I should probably explain because that's a colloquial term with Warhammer. Sticky objectives just means that normally, you're used to staying on the objective to control it. All sticky means is whenever they tell you get it, so this is the command phase, that objective just remains under your control until your opponent controls at the start or end of any turn, which, by the way, did change. I did notice, by the way. It used to be you check for control every
all the time.
Single phase.
Yeah.
Now it's at the end of your turn, which I came into play during my game with demons because of Shadows of the Warp.
Yeah.
I thought when he deep struck on the objective, I lost it. No. And then I read it, and then I had to figure this. I was like, no, it's the end of your turn. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So I was able to deep strike and advance and charge. But yeah, no, just realize that. Anyway, surrogate hosts. At the start of your command phase, if this model is on the battlefield, you can select one other friendly Necron infantry character model on the battlefield. You can't choose Anrakyr or Skorpekh Lord.
No.
That's selected. The selected model is destroyed. What?
Yeah, so keep reading.
And this model is put in its place with all of its wounds remaining. If the selected model is in a unit, this model now attaches to units as its leader.
Yeah, he replaces them.
Oh.
Yeah. That's all. He actually does this. He's able to hop into other bodies. That's what he's going to do. They just don't let you do it to a Skorpekh Lord because they don't want him then leading Skorpekh destroyers or destroying your epic heroes.
Yeah.
But it's infantry character, so he can replace a Cryptech or something smaller if you want.
Yeah. He has Empathic Obliterator, sustain hits D3, it doesn't really matter. 4 attacks, 2 hits, strength 7, D3 damage each.
He's a 75-point sticky, and then if you need to sticky somewhere else, he can go hop to that other unit and sticky it for you.
And sticky it, yep. Is that once per game or no?
No. It's while he's leading a unit. It's long as it's the end of your
you
command
have like
phase.
3 dudes left in his unit, you're like, yeah, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to assassinate. And and you're like, nope.
Yeah. Ah. Yeah, so if he's by himself, he can hop away. Or what's nice to notice is the Surrogate Host is the start of your command phase. An Ancient Collector sticking is the end of your command phase. So if you truly need the objective over there, you don't care about that character or anything like that, he can hop into them, sticky it, and then you can leave. So he has a lot of options like that. 75, and he leads the normal suite of Immortals, Lich Guard Warriors. At 75 points, you can absolutely take him for that. He's not doing much else for you, but if sticky is your concern, this is a good way to actually sticky objectives. We don't have many ways.
Such a weird... Because he's so cool in the lore, but here he's so blasé.
Yeah, they're putting, rightly so to an extent, but they're putting a very heavy emphasis on sticky objectives. And his surrogate host does fit his lore. So he fits his lore well, and he is cheap at least. For 75 points. Somehow,
I would have loved to see them incorporate the Pokemon balls a little bit.
Yeah, I could have seen him having some sort of D6 or D3 related role to, even if it's like a weapon profile, because the idea is he called a different model and they're the one shooting for him or something. But I think they wanted to keep it somewhat simple. And like I said,
exactly.
You do that, he'd get more expensive. You need cheap characters in this army. If they get expensive, you're not taking characters.
Yeah.
All right. So.
That's it for named, right?
My notes are on two separate pages. Why the hell are my notes on such pages? Yes, that is. My notes are on like two separate pages. I gotta combine them. There we go. That's all the named ones. We still have more characters, but that is the named. So, for more characters, name so far. Who do you like the most?
Well, okay, so I gotta agree with everyone and say Illuminor is really, really good.
Yes.
Right? But if I'm taking like multiple named characters, it's probably going to be Illuminor, Nemesor Zahndrekh, and Buddy.
You're already at almost 400 points.
Well, it's okay. I was going to take one more. It's if I could take one more.
Okay.
I don't know if it's Trazyn or the first one. I don't know if I like sticky objectives more. Honestly, no, I don't take Trazyn or I don't take the other one. Zahndrekh, Obyron, Illuminor. Those are my top three. Or technically top two because you don't take. So okay, top three because the problem is Obyron and Zahndrekh are two different models, but really you take them together.
Yes.
So top three would be Illuminor, Zahndrekh, Obyron. And damn, you can see the frustration in my face.
Oh, I know. I see it.
I value sticky objectives more, so it's going to be Illuminor. Or not Illuminor,
Trazyn.
Trazyn.
For what the game is right now, yes, I think the sticky objectives is very, very big. I can absolutely see the argument for Imotekh because the extra command points, some D3 mortals, very cool. I can see the argument for Obyron by himself. I think he absolutely works by himself. But Zahndrekh and Obyron together make a really powerful pair. And yeah, Szeras, I got a couple spare Skorpekh models, so I'm going to see if I can kit bash him together because I don't want to have to get the model itself. And also, the other thing I will preface for anyone watching, a lot of the characters have been sold out and been sold out for a long time because a lot of them are fine cast.
There really?
It
makes sense.
Yeah, they were that time period. There is a lot of people who've shown up their kit bashes and conversions for this because a lot of the characters are kind of like lords with a little bit different weapon, or like I said when we talked about Orikan the Diviner, he's a Cryptothrall, so you could take the Cryptothrall, put a different staff on him, call him Orikan.
I will say, out of all of them, I think Obyron looks kind of the dumbest. I don't like that. Oh no, actually no, sorry, Dab Lord Zahndrekh is the dumbest.
Hey, just because he's cool and you're not.
It literally dabbing.
Yeah, but he's dabbing with like a giant blade. He's dabbing with a staff of light.
But besides the dab, Obyron, I don't like that. I don't know what it is. You know why? And I know why, because I how many spears do I have?
Too many.
200?
Oh, God.
Right? Yeah, 200. Yeah, I'm counting the bike spears. The hands are not supposed to be like that. One hand goes in, hand goes out.
Okay.
He's basically, that is a weightlifting pose. Actually, is it? Hold on. No, because you don't do this. You do this. You do this, this, and this. Yeah. No, he's weightlifting.
Yeah, if he's doing like a clean and jerk, yeah.
He is. He's clean. Yeah. He's deadlifting. I don't know why.
I don't think robots build muscles.
Exactly.
He's not the one who thinks he's still alive, so he should know better. All right. That takes us out of named characters, and now you just get normal characters. First one here, they at least... Necrons always had a lot of characters, and I at least like how they leaned into the idea of characters matter to you, so characters give you your rule, and a lot of your characters are very cool. World Warden is 40 points, so this is cheap. Leads Immortals or Warriors. And this is the model that we're going to see when we talk about Cryptechs or Orikan, who is essentially Cryptech. If they're led by a Royal Warden or a Noble model, they can go in as well. So, he is move 5, toughness 5. He's got 3 up save, 4 wounds, 6. He counts for 1 objective. He has adaptive strategy. While he leads a unit, their ranged weapons gain heavy and assault. You look confused. So, keep in mind, if your opponent is giving you minuses, that means if you didn't move, you're getting +1 to hit naturally because you're being led, and heavy +1. So you can get back to your net +1.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, got it. That's really what it's about. The assault might be a little more useful, but there's times when your opponent's going to have a negative, and this removes that negative. And he's 40 points. Enigmatic logic. Once per battle, at the start of any phase, you can select 1 Necron unit that's battle shock, that's within 12 of him, no longer battle shock. Useful, especially because you could use it at the start of a phase, just as you've gotten battle shock at the end of your command phase, start movement phase, on battle shock immediately. He has a Relic Gauss Blaster, so his Gauss Blaster is a little bit better. Lethal hits, the big thing is Rapid Fire 2 as well. 2 attacks on 3, Strength 5, AP -1, 2 damage. That part's a little bit better as well. And then his melee weapons, he's just got close combat weapons. 4 attacks on 3s, Strength 5, 1 damage. You're taking him because you're worried about large minuses. Getting the heavy or the assault could be good.
Or battle shock.
Yeah, and the battle shock. So if you got a big unit of warriors, being able to get assault on their weapons so you can charge up, or sorry, I should say, advance up, get within a good range. Maybe use some of your stratagem to get some nice rerolls on that, get some pumps of wounds down, and if they kill enough of you, just turn off the battle shock. So that way then you can use your stratagems again. He's very cheap. I do think we're running into a problem of fitting him and others because there's so many characters and pieces that you want.
Yeah.
And he has to lead the unit. He can have Cryptechs with him, a Cryptech, but he has to lead it, so you can't put any of those other people with this guy. So, some of the other people have a little bit nicer abilities. Yeah, they're more expensive, but if I only have 2 units of like warriors and maybe a unit of immortals, if I got 3 units that can be led, am I going to swap out one of them for this guy? Probably not, unless I can't afford him. I take this guy because he's cheap. I don't take him because I'm necessarily in love with all of his abilities. I think they're good, but I kind of like some of the others a bit more personally. And warriors, your warrior blocks already have a few different things I think they want. And I don't know if it's always this guy. All right.
Skorpekh Lord. Oh, this is the big dude, right?
This is the big dude.
Oh, I love Big Chungus. All right. Move 7, toughness 7, 6 wounds, 3 up save, 4 up invulnerable. Wait, did we have an invulnerable save on any of the epic heroes? I don't think I mentioned them.
A few of them
had
did.
it. Zahndrekh, Illuminor.
Yeah, if you scroll back, they have them.
Actually, not. Okay, no, there we go. Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Some of them don't, though. Okay. I just realized that. I completely anyway. So it does have a 4 up invulnerable. OC2, leadership 6. United he leads Skorpechs, by the way.
Yeah.
Obviously. So United Destruction. When this model's in a unit, melee weapons equipped by models in that unit have the lethal hits ability. I got to see the Skorpechs. Do they like lethal hits, Dave?
They don't have it naturally. So if you don't have it naturally and generally like it, so Skorpechs they're 4 attacks, normally on 3, strength 7, AP -2, 2 damage. You can have a unit of 6. So you could be doing this on 24 attacks. That means you're getting, on average, about 4 or so of them automatically through.
Okay. 2 damage a pop, you said?
Yeah, 2 damage a pop.
Not bad. Each time this model ends a charge move, select one enemy unit with engagement range. On a D6 2 to 5, it's D3, and on a 6 it's D3 plus. Okay, so just some more wounds when you charge. He does have a ranged weapon and a melee weapon. Range weapon is 18 inches. Rapid fire 2 with 2 attacks, 2 up to hit, strength 6, AP 1 damage. He's got a claw. Wait, hold on. Does he get both?
There's not extra. It's not extra attacks, so no, he has to choose.
Choose. Okay.
Yep.
So you can choose between 8 attacks on strength 6 AP 1/1 damage, or 4 attacks at strength 10 AP 3/3 damage.
Yeah. He can actually. This is an army that in general can struggle in close combat versus heavier things. Shooting, no. They're pretty good against it in shooting. But in close combat, a lot of your stuff doesn't really have that very, very high strength or very, very good AP, other than like C'tans or certain things like that. So here's a guy in that. The problem is Skorpekh aren't as good as they used to be. They're a little more lackluster.
Yeah.
And so far, the one time I've rolled that mortal wounds, I rolled the one on a model that had 1 wound left to kill him for a Night Titan.
Oh.
Yeah. So what do you think? He's 115 points. 115.
I mean, if I'm taking Skorpekh, I take him.
Yes. Yeah, he's a good tax. If you're taking Skorpekh, I like the 6 unit, and I like him in there. I'm giving lethal hits.
I'm not taking Skorpekh. He doesn't exist.
No. And the problem, Skorpekh are a little bit lackluster, but I do overall like him. I especially just like his look, so I do take him often.
No, he does look amazing. I will, 100%.
Yeah, for me, I do include a lot because I do just think he's really cool looking. And I do like him, and it took me a long time to paint him, so I like putting him in. And I like Skorpekh. And Skorpekh, each of the weapons took me like 30 minutes to paint each one. So I do tend to take them, but I do understand that they're not as good as they used to be. But it's an embarrassment of riches. And at least with this guy, though, that's all he can lead, and it's the only thing that can be led by him. So if you have Skorpekh, do you have points for this guy? You can throw him in. You don't have to like worry about it the same way you have for these other things. The Lokhust Lord. Let me just put in my timestamp. Make my life easier later. For Lokhust Lord, I gotta pull up his points. There it is. He's 85 points. These models are like tough to get right now. I'm trying to figure out if I can kit bash one well. He's a move 7, toughness 6, 3 up save, 6 wounds, 6 leadership. He's 4 up invul, I should say, as well, and he counts for 2 objectives. He is part of the Destroyer cult. While he's leading a unit, models that have on ranged attacks get critical hits on 5s. They already have, I know some of their weapons are lethal hits. Trying to look up Destroyer. I gotta like not spell it with an L. Fat typing here. Yeah, lethal hits on that one. I think the heavies are sustained hits or lethal hits, depending on which profile you go with. So you're immediately giving them something good, and he's driven by hatred. Each time a model makes an attack that targets an enemy that's below half strength, you can reroll the hit and the wound. So hit someone who's already hurt, and you can finish them off. War gear. So this is one of the first times we've actually seen war gear these guys can take. So actually, what I'll say is I'll talk about his weapons, and I'll talk about his war gear options. His ranged weapons, he has the Staff of Light, same sort of staff that we've talked about. He has either a Lord's Blade, devastating wounds on 4 attacks, 2, strength 8, AP -3, 2 damage. Or he can have his Staff of Light. So if he swaps the Staff of Light, he loses his ranged weapon. I don't care about his ranged weapon. I probably go with the Lord's Blade anyway, just so that way he stands a better chance if someone gets in combat. Because your other guys aren't going to really do that great against it. So you could use it here. Yeah, the other guys are like 2 attacks and stuff like that. Other options for him. He can take either Phylactery or Resorb. Phylactery gives him Feel No Pain, 5 up. Cool. No. Resorb. When he's leading a unit, your reanimation protocols go off every command phase. Not just yours, your opponent's as well. It's free. You absolutely take a Resorb. You take a Resorb on every unit that can take a Resorb. It's not many. It's Lords, Overlords, and like Lokhust Lords. But you absolutely take the Resorb. Because now you get your reanimation in both command phases. So if your opponent, say you went, got your models in combat, you lost a little bit. Their turn, this unit comes back D3, survive out, your turn, another D3. it doubles your survivability.
Why would I ever take 5 up, feel no pain?
Because at some point you're going to have to pay for war gear, and it might be prohibitively expensive.
Okay.
Phylactery might be like 10 points, and if the Resorbs used to be, last edition, they were like 30.
Ooh.
Oh, well, there was like a special one, and then there was a relic one as well, but they were, some of them were like 30 points or like swapped out for stuff, so at some point it's not going to be freebie anymore. I think that's the reason why, but if you're taking Lokhust Destroyers, yes. Take a big pack of them, take this guy 100%. If you're taking heavy destroyers, he's very good there as well, but I might take the extra Lokhust Destroyer if I can fit the 3 in instead of or fit an extra one in instead of just taking this guy. But he does a lot for that unit, especially if the model or whatever you're shooting at is already under half. Rerolling hit and wound, especially on heavy destroyers, if you want them for that, is huge. Because their big gun is 1 shot. And it's like damage 6. So he is quite good. But he loses his hover round, and he gains legs. Tell us what happens when he grows those legs.
When he grows the legs. Yeah.
I assume that's what happened.
So what does he lose? He loses a toughness. He goes down to 5, loses 2 wounds. Jesus. So he goes from 6 to 4. I think that's about it. Still keeps his invul, right? Oh no, loses his invul too.
He fits a lot of thing in that hover chair.
Apparently. His weapons don't change though, right?
No, his weapon options are exactly the same.
So he can do Relentless March, add 1 to the move characteristics of the model, the Lord's Will. You can target that unit with stratagems even when it's battle shocked. And he has a Resurrection Orb.
He's a 65-point Resorb that makes you a little bit faster and lets you use your cool strategy even when battle shocked.
Okay.
We are going to see we'll see if we do it tonight, but in a bit, we're going to see where we throw him in. When we start talking about Lichguard warriors and stuff like that, we're going to talk about some of the combinations you take for these guys. And there's a strong indication why this guy might be the noble option that you take.
Okay.
Yeah. Once we talk about the other ones and we've seen all these things, I think that makes more sense to have that sort of argument. But otherwise, he's cool. All right. And he's cheap, at least. So we are on to now. He's going to swap out his little hover-around chair for a
throne.
Yeah, for a throne or a full. I know what I'm thinking, but I can't think of it. That's okay. I'll come up with it later. It's going to bug the shit out of me until I do. Catacomb Command Barge. For the Catacomb Command Barge, this is 150 points. This is him on the barge. So, it's move 9, toughness 8, 3-up save, but 4-up invul. 9 wounds, 6 leadership. He's grabbing you 3 objectives. Has deadly demise 1. First thing we've seen with that. He has a carrier wave, an aura. If friendly Necron units are within 6 inches, they add 1 to their objective controlled characteristic. That is definitely very big on some of these units that are 1s or even the ones that are 2, because then you can guarantee that you're taking the objectives. And he has advanced quantum shielding. Each time an attack targets this model, if the strength characteristic of the attack is greater than his toughness, subtract 1. So, assuming you're not a strength 16 or better gun, you don't wound this guy on more than 4s. Because if you would wound him on a 3, -1 from the wound. He may take a Resorb as well. Here's why he's so good. Select 1 friendly Necron infantry or mounted unit within 6 inches to do the ability. So he doesn't help his unit because it's just him. I mean, I would say it's friendly. He's allowed to help himself. Oh no, sorry, he's not because he's not mounted. My apologies. But he helps someone else. So, and I don't think, and it's the end of your opponent's command phase that you use this same way as you use the other Resorbs. So, For his weapon choices, so he comes with the Gauss Cannon Staff of Light. He can swap those. So his Staff of Light is the same thing we've been talking about. His Gauss Cannons, lethal hits, 24-inch range, 3 shots on 3, strength 5, AP -2, 2 damage. So, pretty good. He can swap the Gauss Cannon for a Tesla Cannon if he wants instead. It sustained hits 2 instead. Still the 24, but you get 4 attacks on 3s, 6 strength, 1 damage. He can also take the Overlord's Blade if he wants. I'm taking the Overlord's Blade each and every time because I don't care about the Staff of Light a little bit extra. And I'm probably going Gauss Cannon because the flat 2 damage I like a little bit more than the Saints hits 2 when you only have like 4, maybe 3 attacks. This is the point where you have words. Should you have them?
Yeah.
You are not thrilled with this.
So, again, and no, you know why? And there's the same reason I wasn't thrilled with the Throne of Blood for Khorne. It's the same reason I wasn't thrilled for the gigantic wheeled chariot for Slaanesh. It's just going to get... You're paying points for something to get shot, and it's not as durable as you want it to be. That's the problem I'm seeing. Like, someone takes a knight, they will blow this up off the board. It's not like it's shooting another knight, or it's not like it's shooting a tank, which is a little bit more durable. This is like a rhino in durability. With a 4-up invulnerable, yes, but... yeah,
9 wounds doesn't go so far if people have things like las cannons and stuff like that. Yeah. If they have good anti-tank, it can go down in one volley.
It's the same problem I had with the stupid demon Khorne. What was it called? The Throne of Blood? No, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's just it's the same exact problem. I look at this, I'm like, it's cool, but I'm so inundated with HQs and leaders. This is not one of them. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I understand. Yeah, I mean, this guy is still
just because I know it's a shooting edition, and he will absolutely get shot off the board. Yeah.
And before I was just thinking base hovercraft. He's essentially on hovercraft this time. The shame is because his carrier wave is really good. That's going to help you take objectives that you might have been losing before. The fact that you can't wound him any more than a 4 does help. Like I said, unless you're like a super crazy strength. But otherwise, you're only hurting him on 4s. He has, with that and an invul save, he has decent survivability. But if your opponent really has a lot of anti-tank and they want him gone, they can. And they probably will in a turn. If they're more modest, you'll have this guy for a bit if it's a little more modest. But you also have to be careful with him because he's not necessarily hitting really that hard in melee either. So you don't necessarily really want him in combat.
Yeah.
I think I have one of these. I don't think it's fully put together.
I used to.
Why did you had Necrons at some point?
Yes, I did. I had a whole army.
No, I did not know
I've had almost every single army except for Imperial Guard, Dark Eldar, Genius of the Cults, obviously, because they're too new. About 10. Well, I pretty much had every single army. I had Necrons.
I have Necrons now. I had a few Necrons in the... excuse me. I watched you yawn. Now it affected me. I had Necrons now. I had Necrons a little bit in the past. I think I've only had about 5 or 6, actually, when it's all said and done. But now I have like the other half of Tyranid, so I might do a little something with them. Because the new big model I like. Some of the other ones are okay, but I like the new big model.
Oh my god, they're trying so... Oh god. I was joking about Kaiju Wars, but now they have a Tyranid the size of a knight.
But they've had that. They had a Hierophant and stuff like that. They already had giant models.
No, that's the size of a Titan. That's a Bio-Titan. This is the size of a knight.
The Demacaron was huge. For
Tyranid. The what?
The Demacaron, when that was the thing? That was big.
Yeah, no, you're right. That one was pretty big. That's Forge World. This is an actual plastic, version.
I know. It looks neat. I'll give it that. I don't remember if I said that guy's points, but it was like 60. Lords were 65. And then Dan's going to talk about the Overlord, who's 85. So 20 more points.
20 more points. Overlord, toughness 5, 6 wounds, 2 up save, leadership 6, OC 1. He does have a tachyon arrow, which is exactly the same.
It is identical.
Okay. Staff of Light is the same. Overlord Blade is the same. Staff of Void. Have we talked about Void Scythe yet? Yes.
No, we have. Because he can swap out his Tachyon Arrow and Overlord Blade for either. Wait, that's weird. This model's Tachyon Arrow. Because that's why. You can replace his Tachyon Arrow and Overlord Blade with an Overlord Blade, a Staff of Light, or a Void Scythe. The reason why they do the Overlord Blade twice is because if he doesn't have a Tachyon Arrow, he can get the Resorb.
Got it.
He can have the blade and a Resorb.
Okay, got it. The Void Scythe is Strength 12, AP 3 damage, devastating wounds, 3 attacks.
Yep.
Okay. He has My Will Be Done once per battle round. 1 unit from your army with this ability can be targeted with a stratagem for 0 CP. Yep. Even if you've already targeted a different unit with this stratagem.
There's this captain ability.
Yep, there's the captain. Implacable. Sorry, resilience, not implicable. Each time an attack is allocated to this model, subtract 1 from the attack damage characteristic.
The problem is it's him.
It's him. If that was the unit, I would pay 100 points for that. And then he could take a Resorb, which you do. Yes. Okay, so of the unnamed, absolutely him. Absolutely him.
Yeah.
That shield captain, oh my God. I'm not going to go into it because people have probably heard this ad fucking nauseum.
From you, yes.
Yes, no. Targeting a unit for 0 CP when you've already used the stratagem is bonkers insane. Yeah. Now remember, you can only do this once. If you have like 2 overlords, both have My Will Be Done, right? You can't like double up on this.
No.
But doubling up on that on a stratagem is insanity. So 100% love this model.
Even just getting it for cheaper. So if this guy's leading Lich Guard, you now have Heroic Intervention for nothing.
Yeah.
If they get close, because Lich Guard, Sword and Board Lich Guard, to me, are tying units down, countercharging, or just taking objectives. So if they charge something that you don't want them to, and they're close to your Lich Guard, now your Lich Guard go in, because your Lich Guard can fight. Sword and Board do have some decent chances to get through some stuff. Not super heavy models, but they'll cut in and they'll survive out.
And it's free. It's free. It's 100%. And remember, it's per battle round too.
Yes,
so,
you're going to keep using it. We've already talked about how, 1, CP matters, and 2, a lot of theirs are either quite good or like, ooh, I really could use this. The one that gives you reanimation, I could do reanimation on my unit and a different unit. I've only spent 1 CP to get reanimation after you kill the model twice. There's a lot of good you can do with this guy. So when we get to Warriors, Lich Guard, stuff like that, we'll talk about some of the various combinations that are talked about. But 85 points. The other model does have some play, though, because he does do things differently. Just the normal Lord. So.
Yeah.
All right. That will take us to the Technomancer. So now we get to Cryptechs. All Cryptechs have the same rule that Orikan did, that if they're being led by a royal warden or a noble model, they may join the unit as well. So you essentially get the lieutenant rule. Technomancers are 60 points. He's move 5, toughness 4, 4 up save, 4 wounds, 6 leadership, 1 objective. He gets rights of reanimation. While he's leading a unit, they get 5 up, feel no pain. So Technomancers are very, very popular for that.
Oh my God.
And Technomancer, at the end of your movement phase, you can select 1 friendly Necron model that's within 3 inches of him, and that model gets back D3 wounds. They can only be selected once per turn with it. You can't bring back models, but if you have a multi-wound model that's down a few, you can get D3 back. He has 2 war gear options. He can take a Canoptic Cloak. It gives him Fly, Lone Operative, and a move characteristic of 10. You lose out on his rights. Don't do it.
Yeah, why?
The reason you would do that is if you were trying just to, one, you're probably just not getting shot. But if you're just trying to heal units, because think about it, if he's in a unit that he's leading, they might be moving up the board and moving away from. So put this way, the units that you can lead are Warriors of 1 wound, Immortals of 1 wound, or Lich Guard of 2. So Warriors and Immortals he can't help with his bring things back, because he brings back wounds, not models. And a Lich Guard, he can only help if you have a Lich Guard who's taken 1 wound. So you might want to help someone nearby, but it's only 3-inch bubble. So you would take the Canoptic Cloak if your goal was to jump between some of your heavy anti-vehicle things. Or if you're running a couple C'tan, and you want to jump him between the different C'tans to get the extra D3 wounds on them. But his control node, while a friendly Canoptic unit is within 6 inches, each time a Canoptic model makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. This, things like your Doomstalkers and things like that, their weapons are heavy and they normally hit on 4s. This lets them move and still get back to the 3-ups. Or if you're experiencing multiple minuses, you could stay at that additional +1 because you have 1 extra. He's got Staff of Light. You don't care about his weapon.
Yeah, I was going to say, who cares?
Yeah. For 60 points, there's a reason why people throw him in as an extra into a lot of these units that want to be chunkier.
Checking BCP, there was a list with triple Lich Guard, and each one I think had a Technomancer in it.
Oh, absolutely.
And then some random character.
You can be 4-up Invul and 5-up Feel No Pain. And if you did plink me down by a wound on something, I can do this get back. And it pairs nicely with reanimation, because if I get a weird amount back and I only get a model back to 1 wound, he gets them the other.
Yep.
And then you absolutely put the Cryptothralls in there. And we'll talk about what they do when we get to
Before we do, Psychomancer. The creepy dude. How these guys creepy. The Psychomancer, I think the next one, Chronomancer, are the creepy ones. So,
I agree.
Psychomancer can be put in a Immortals, Lich Guard, Necron Warriors. He's also a Lieutenant version. I think he's got the same exact stats. Give me a second. 5, 4, 4, 4, 6, 1.
Yeah, they're
5,
all
4,
essentially
4,
the same.
4, 6, 1. Yep, he does have an Abyssal Lance, though. Hold on.
Yeah, and he's 50
New
points.
weapon here. New weapon. 1 attack. Hits on a 4. Strength 6, AP 3, 3 damage. So if it hits you and wounds you, it does hurt. He's got 2 abilities. He's got an aura. While an enemy unit within 9 inches, subtract 1 from the leadership characteristic of that model in the unit.
It's a good size aura. It's
good.
not amazing,
it's 9 inches. He's on a 32 or 40.
32. Okay. I believe it's a 32. I don't have him in front of me.
It's basically 11 inch. Oh, no, 30, not 40. God, I'm so used to playing Custodies. 32 is like 1.25, 1.5. Yeah, whatever. Harbinger of Despair. At the start of your shooting phase, select one enemy unit within 18 inches. Then you must take a battle shock test.
You are right to not be thrilled.
Yeah.
The big problem. So when we did demons want to battle shock you because they get something cool from doing it. This army doesn't. We don't get a bunch of bonuses if you're battle shocked. So, if you were running to make it where before we were talking about like, oh, you have this battle shock test or your thing doesn't shoot. Okay, his Nightmare Shroud, but I don't want to throw good points after bad points, kind of thing. I ran him before because I painted him, and I think he's cool. But those whips are a pain in the ass, and they don't go together anything like they say. I just kind of.
It's always funny to hear stories of people building models, and they're always like, the model sucks.
Yeah, I didn't mind it, but it does not go together.
I was putting together Be'lakor, and I will say Be'lakor was so much easier to put together than the fucking plastic demon prints that they made. The plastic demon prints they made is a beautiful model. Absolutely gorgeous, the new one they made, right? And there's so many you can do Slanesh head, you can do Zinch head, so many customizations. The legs and the chest go together like hell, and Be'lakor almost got me to that point because you have to glue like the nails to the toes, but then the feet are in 2 or 3 pieces, and then it started approaching Malifaux levels of stupid.
It's weird because that's a new kit too. That's not old.
Yeah, I was showing Dan like literally on 1 foot, not leg, not shin. 1 foot is like 6 pieces. and it drove me up the wall. It literally drove me up the wall. But thankfully, I only had to build one.
Yeah, that's way too much. I don't want to go.
That's the one where you have to build one, and I'm fine with. But it was like if I had to build 3 of those, absolutely not.
Well, hey, that's the crime, or that's the punishments of the crime of spam.
Yeah, well, you can't spam Be'lakor thing.
No, it's very good. You can't.
Yeah. All right, who's next? Chronomancer.
Chronomancer.
Cool.
All right, so for the Chronomancer, let me take a look at his points. He has 50 points, so cryptechs are cheap. But remember, they can go in a unit, much like a lieutenant, that's being led by something else, so you don't want them to be that much. Base stats are the same. Oh, this guy does have a 4 invul. They don't all have invul saves. For his abilities, he has the Time Splinter Mantle. When this model is leading a unit, each time the target attacks a unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So when someone else attacks you, -1 to hit. Quite useful. And he's a chromaton. In your shooting phase, after this model's unit has shot, if it's not in engagement range of any enemy units, they can move 5 inches. If they do, they're not allowed to charge, but you can absolutely move them.
That's pretty cool for Necron warriors.
Yes. It is good for warriors, because you could do almost like a jump, shoot, jump to a certain extent. The other nice part is he does have a ranged weapon that your immortals do not. Sorry, not your immortals, my apologies. Your Lich Guard do not. So if you need the extra move on, say, a unit of Lich Guard, he can fire his gun. The unit has now shot. They get 5 inches. So it's kind of like an advanced 5 inches with this guy. He's got an Aeon Staff. It's D6 attacks. Hits on 4s. But remember, if he's leading a unit, it'd be 3s because he's in there. Strength 5 AP -1 damage. And in melee, it's just 3 attacks flat and same exact numbers. You're taking this guy because then you're -1 to get hits. And because you can essentially auto-advance 5s.
Yeah, after shooting.
So this kind of thing, if you were taking, say, multiple Lich Guard, he's a good option for one of your Lich Guard units because he's going to do something different for them. He adds their survivability and maneuverability. Warriors, I don't mind it if you got a good line of sight style blocking terrain, because then you could pop out, shoot, and maybe pull back or get back onto an objective, even if you need to get closer to shoot. Immortals, honestly, I do like Immortals, but Immortals, because they're smaller squad, it's a little bit tougher. All right. We like him in general. You get the other weird guy, the Plasmancer.
Oh, I like this is a model I also really like. He's really creepy.
Yeah.
Let's see what he does. Let's see if it same stats, I think. I'll go over the weapon first.
Yeah.
Because annoyingly, they're all different weapons.
Yes.
3 attacks, 4 to hit, strength 7 AP 3, 2 damage, and the melee is exactly the same, except it's 2 attacks instead of 3.
Yeah.
All right. Harbinger of Destruction. So while this model is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack, it a successful unmodified roll of 5+ scores a critical hit. Ooh.
A lot of Warriors and Immortal stuff has lethal hits, or one of them sustained hits. They have a lot of crits matter.
Yeah. And how many points is he? 50? 60? 40?
I don't know if I said. You're just guessing. Plasmancer's 55.
Okay. Worth it. Living Lightning. In your shooting phase, select one enemy unit within 18 inches and visible to the model. Roll 1d6 for each model in that enemy unit. Each 6 is a mortal wound. Oh, that's so... Okay. Awful against, monster spam lists. But if you're playing Gene Stealer Cult... oh, is that your 20-man Cult squad? Brr.
It's good against most things.
4, 5, 6s.
Most people have some units of 10 models. That's very, very common. So you'll get a couple out of that. Maybe spike a little high and get 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Because of his +5 to make critical hits, he's pretty auto on like a unit. I said.
Yeah.
Usually Necron Warriors is what you see it a little bit more, but he's allowed to lead the others. He can lead Lich Guard, Immortals as well, but Warriors is probably where you see him more. But all right. We're going to do one more thing out of order, and then we can talk about time-wise.
We're going to talk about the Silent... Please tell me we're talking about the Silent King.
Oh, we can do that. Actually, we'll flip to the Silent King in a moment, because that might make some sense.
What were you thinking? That's who I was thinking.
Cryptothralls.
Who the hell are Wait, where are those?
I'm trying to look for their page right now. Cryptothralls Should be page 53.
All right.
No, that's flayed ones. Where the hell are Cryptothralls? Oh, they're after it. Okay. They're 55.
Got him.
There we go. Okay, so Cryptothralls. Yeah, we're going to talk Cryptothralls because they make sense to talk about here. And then it will make more sense when we talk about some of the dumb shenanigans you can do with these guys. I don't remember who talked about the last time. You did the Plasmancer. Okay. Cryptothralls. Give me 1 second. Let me find the points. I know these guys are very cheap. 2 models, 40 points. So 20 points a model, but you do take 2. Move 5, toughness 4, 3-up save. They're 2 wounds, these little dudes. Leadership 8, sure, 1 objective point. That's fine. Here is their attachment rule, because this matters before we say anything else. At the start, let me scroll this wings a little bit more. At the start of the declare battle formation step, this unit can join one other unit from your army that's being led by a Cryptech infantry model. And you cannot have more than 1 unit of Cryptothralls join it. Now remember, your Cryptechs can join a unit that has a Noble or a Royal Warden in it. So these guys can add in as well. If it does, until the end of the battle, every model in this unit counts as being part of the bodyguard unit. And the bodyguard unit's starting strength is increased accordingly. That is exceptionally important, the wording on that. Here's why. I don't care about their weapons. Scouring Eye, they got a ranged weapon of 6 inches, hits 2 attacks on 4, strength 5, AP -1, 1 damage. Sure. Scythed Limbs, strength 5, AP -1, 1 damage on 4s before attacks. They can actually maybe put a wound or 2 on someone. The big thing is they have Feel No Pain 4-up. Now, they give the Cryptech model a 4 Feel No Pain. Cool. They have 2 big things about them. 1, Systematic Vigor. It is a fight on death of a 3-up. So if you have a model that gets slain, but has not fought this round in melee, on a 3-up, don't remove them play. They get to fight, and then after they're done their attacks, they get removed. So a Lich Guard unit with fight on death on a 3-up, nice. Because you might lose a few. Really especially helps out in case you're not taking sword and board. The Feel No Pain is especially important. Here's why. They join and count as the bodyguard unit, increasing the bodyguard unit size. What that means is, and everyone has talked about this, this is absolutely what the rule is. Will they change in the future? Maybe. But their wording is very specific here. I have a unit of Lich Guard with a pair of these boys. You decide to shoot me. I decide to take my saves on these guys. I have my Feel No Pain on these guys. Let's say after a little bit I've lost them both, and I still have my Lich Guard. Maybe I've lost the Lich Guard or 2. Now it's time for reanimation protocols. I roll reanimation. I bring these guys back because they have 4 Feel No Pain. I'm allowed to do that. Normally, if you lose a whole unit, you can't bring them back. They're part of the bodyguard unit. They're not an attachment anymore. They're not an attached character. They're actually bodyguard models. So they are part of the Lich Guard unit. So you can bring them back. Or, conversely, you can actually bring Lich Guard back if these are the guys you have left. Because they're part of the unit. They're not a separate attachment anymore. Now, did they mean that? I don't know. They were very specific the way they said this. So that means you essentially have a lot more survivability for 40 points because you have these guys with 4 Feel No Pain, and every time you reanimate, you can choose to bring them back. So you can constantly having these guys that you're not losing effectiveness through losing them. They are a very popular option that people put in for that big Lich Guard unit. You could put in with other stuff, obviously, if you really want to help out like your warriors a bit or something like that. But the Lich Guard is really a spot that you see people want to put this in because this is 4 extra wounds at Feel No Pain. And you bring them back. And we haven't talked about it yet, but the Reanimator gives you an extra D3. So you can bring back these guys and some extra. So these guys only relate to Cryptechs. They only go because you have Cryptechs and all. So it makes sense to talk about when we're in the middle of Cryptechs. Because it's kind of weird to do them otherwise. But
and actually, before we have some more characters, since we're doing characters, the C'tans.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we got the C'tans.
That makes sense.
So we have we have so we have the C'tans. We have there was one more I saw before the Silent King. I'm not crazy. Hold on. There was one more character, or was it just the C'tans? I'm just scrolling. Yeah, it's just C'tans because I don't think the Obelisk is a character.
No, Obelisk is not a character.
Bolt. All right, so I'll go to the Deceiver.
So give me his Deceiver's not the Nightbringer's first. Oh no, Deceiver is first. You're right. Yeah, I wrote it backwards in my notes.
All right,
that's absolutely true. Go ahead.
Deceiver. So, still the ugly model he used to be.
Yeah, I don't like his face. He kind of looks like the Joker.
Not great. I mean, that's his point, but no.
I agree, but it's just not a good look.
Yeah, no. So, movement 7, toughness 11. So funny because it's such a small model. So anyway, movement 7, toughness 11, 4 up and vulnerable save, 12 wounds, leadership 6 OC.
Yeah. So all of them fit a very similar profile to that. They're all very chunky.
Yes. Deadly Demise D6. He does have stealth because why not? Grand Illusion. If your army includes this model, after both players have deployed their army, select the 3 Necron units from your army and redeploy them. You could also set those units up in strategic reserve if you wish, and this can be regardless of how many units you already set up in your strategic reserve, which is important because you're actually limited now.
Yes.
Necrodermis, you half the damage, rounding up characteristics of the attack.
Yep. All C'tan have that.
Yep. And good. And then Cosmic Insanity, it's an anti-character devastating wounds anti-character 4+. Devastating wounds on a 4+, if it's a character, with precision. You have 6 attacks, 2 up to hit, 6 strength, AP 2, 1 damage. So honestly, you're just trying to snipe out characters with mortal wounds. And Golden Fists. Wow, actually, Jesus. 8 attacks, 2 to hit, strength 8, AP 3, 3 damage.
Yeah.
Honestly, you're taking him for the redeploy, and
I'm back and forth. So he is 265.
No, what I'm saying is, if you're taking him because you want shenanigans with the redeploy.
Here's the problem with the redeploy, though. It's before you know who goes first.
Oh my God! Did they not include? I'm so used to it from the last edition.
No. This is before. If you actually look at it, this would occur before you know who goes first, because that's the next phase. Yes,
that sucks because every redeploy last edition was after you knew who went first.
If they changed that, even better. Now, he's stealth. He's hard to kill. Notice C'tans have reanimation, so they get their wounds back. He can hurt characters, and his melee is actually pretty good. He's on his own, but his melee is actually pretty good, so he can go out there and really hit some people. But yeah, unfortunately, that ability it's wrongly timed. Where it's useful, and you can't plan this, if you went first, put units down, then they counter-deployed, and then you just picked units up and put them in strategic. But if you go second, the ability's not really doing you anything, unless they have like a bunch of infiltrators. So, people still like him a lot. He's not the best, but
that redeploy does need to change though, because I did check from last edition. I was opening my book because every single redeploy was you knew who went first and then you redeployed, which is the whole point of it. That was like you were like, oh, I'm not going first. You activated my trap card. That makes this almost, I'm gonna say, completely useless.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the page number in front of me. If this is on...
No, it's fine. I trust you.
If this is on YouTube, I'll put up... Because I read the page earlier because people were asking. And some people are like, oh, no, it happens. They're like, no, look at the wording. They're like, this happens. They're like, in Leviathan, later you determine who goes first. You essentially finish everything and then determine. Yeah. Overall, he's still good, but that ability isn't... It's only good half of the time because you need to be going first. You need to deploy first.
I'm going to say it as I'm not going to admit it's trash.
Well, actually, my apologies. In this, you alternate deployments. So that is, I forgot because I was thinking 30K where you put everything back and forth. So you can kind of counter a counter, but it's not great. It's not great. We'll talk about the Nightbringer. I like the Nightbringer a lot. I know he's not as good as he used to be. Not even remotely.
Really? Because I'm looking at his damage here.
He ignored invul saves before, and he was AP -4.
Oh.
You effectively didn't get saves versus him. Now you actually do get your invul. Now that's fine. They removed essentially in the whole game. you get invul saves against pretty much everything, but he actually had the rule where you get no invuls versus this guy.
Okay.
I just remember I still have clothes in the laundry. I need to put those in the dryer when we're done. He's 255. He has the same profile, although he is objective 4. But otherwise, he's the same. His toughness 11, 4 up invul save, 12 wounds, and yeah, you have the damage characteristics of his attacks. Attacks coming in at him. He has drain life. So at the end of the fight phase, roll d6 for each enemy unit within 6. On a 4-up, they take d3 mortal wounds. He has a ranged weapon, Gaze of Death. It's blast, d3 attacks on 2s, strength 12, AP -2, d6 plus 3 damage. So if it's a big unit, you can do quite a bit. And if you happen to roll the 3, this is actually a really good attack. And then his weapon, he either has a strike at devastating wounds or a sweep. He's 6 or 14 attacks, 2s either ways. 14 strength or 8, AP -4 at d6 damage, or -2 for 2 damage. His strike is still really good. At 14 strength is really good. AP -4 is really good. D6 damage means you're either going to love some days or just awful others. It really depends on how you roll. I still really like him, but he is ranked reasonably low for C'tan. I think partly because C'tan do have a problem with survivability. If you have good anti-tank, yeah, they're having the damage, but they're only 12 wounds. So the -1 to hit on the Deceiver is a little bit better, but his ability to pump out damage is better. He is a much better damage dealer. And the model I use for him that I have, I just like a lot more than my Deceiver model.
I think I saw it. Do you have it near you or no?
Nah, no, all that stuff is like, some of it's in my car and other stuff's upstairs. I don't have them near me.
Damn.
Yeah, for this I probably should have held up my own models, but they're just not around. Probably should have thought of that, but too late now. I really like him. I really do enjoy this model. I think he does a lot. I think you have to be cagey with him because he can go down faster than you think in terms of wounds, but I do think he is very, very good. All right. That is going to put you to the Void Dragon. His model's crazy.
Yeah, it's such a good model. I love when GW does negative space stuff. They did this with what are the Minotaur Eldars called again?
The Minotaur Eldars?
The Minotaur Elves in Sigmar. Shit. The Moo Elves. They have like the really
But that doesn't help. I know what a Minotaur is.
They have big cow horns and stuff. Right? You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
I'm sure they exist. I just don't know what they are.
They're called. It's going to try. Give me a second. Give me like 5 seconds, and I'll tell you right now.
Void Dragon is going to be 270, just so we know. He's a little bit
270.
He's 270.
They're called Lumineth, my friend.
Okay. So the Army, the Lumineth Realm Lords. Okay.
Yeah, and then if you look at it's called the Light of Eltharion. That's negative space.
Okay, got it.
It's an armor with no one in it, and they like the armor is attached to like the cloak and like the rocks, but it gives you the illusion that like there's no one in the armor essentially.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I meant. So many words to explain.
I get it now, though. Anyway, I get it.
Yeah. All right. So, still the same stat line.
Yep.
He's lower OC.
Yeah. The Deceiver was 6, the Nightbringer and Void Dragon are both 4.
Or 4. Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the weapons first, honestly. He's got 2 range weapons. He's got the Spear of the Void Dragon and Voltaic Storm. So Spear of the Void Dragon is anti-vehicle 2+. Okay.
Yep.
So range 12, 1 attack, 2 to hit, strength 4, but who gives a damn? I mean, okay, if you're shooting someone, then it's strength 4.
No, yeah.
Shoot this out of vehicle, please. AP 3, D6 plus 2. So it's a really powerful 12-inch melting gun, essentially.
Yes.
Actually, no. Anti-vehicle 2+, even more powerful. Voltaic Storm is 18 inches. It is blast and sustained hits 2. Okay. Mm-hmm. D6 plus 3. Attacks at strength 7, AP 1, 2 damage. Oh, man. Yeah.
There's what you hit a unit with instead.
Oh, my God. With the blast. Jesus Christ. Yes. His melee weapons, he does have extra. He does have spear, so you can strike or sweep. The strike is still anti-vehicle. It's 5 attacks at 2s to hit, So basically, the difference is you get 10 attacks with the sweep, 5 attacks with the attacks. It goes from strength 8 to strength 12 if you're doing the strike, but remember it's anti-vehicle 2+ anyway. AP 1 to AP 3, D6 plus 2 or 2. Okay. Yeah. And then he's got an extra 6 attacks on 2s, strength 6, AP -1, 1 damage. God, that AP -1 is not needed, but it's very much loved.
Yeah.
He does have matter absorption at the start of your shooting phase. Select one enemy vehicle within 12 inches. Roll 1d6. On a 2-up, it suffers D3 mortal wounds, and you just regain that amount of mental loss wounds. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yep.
Okay. He's the most expensive. Please tell me.
He is. He's $270.
Okay.
Oh, man, if they have vehicles, this guy is going to make them hate their day. Although if they have good vehicles, they might have good anti-tank. So being careful with where you place him or having the damage characteristics.
How big is his base? Does he hide behind a building pretty well?
He's big.
No, remember we LVO. It's okay. First of all, if you're behind the ruins,
then you're fine.
But he's taller than the first floor, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, no, he's a big model. Okay. Yeah, so he's taller than the first floor. Yeah, but they have to get onto the ruin anyway then, because he'll still get blocked. Because he's not Titanic. He is great anti-tank. If he gets hurt, he can start of the shooting phase, get some wounds back potentially. Then he can throw his anti-vehicle mortal wounding spear at you, and then he can get into combat and hit you with the same exact weapon on 5 attacks. So he can essentially get to 6 attacks overall. So he can do quite a bit. I mean, he's not great against other things. He's okay. He's good against other things, but you want him for vehicles.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the strength 12, AP -3, D6 plus 2. If you're not a vehicle, he's still going to do a lot to you. He's still going to hurt you bad. There's a reason why this guy's in a lot of cases usually ranked number 2. If you got a lot of vehicles or you got like a knight players or something like that, then this guy's probably ranked number 1. But he's not always ranked number 1. I do like him. I don't know if I've ever used mine. Probably need to. Now you can run additional C'tan, because there used to be problems. You could only have 1 C'tan per detachment. So you'd have to take a list that had multiple detachments, but that's not the thing anymore. So you can take them all.
Take them all.
Yeah.
Speaking of, now you have the normal dude, the one who can actually hide, by the way, because he's on a stupid small flight base.
Yeah. The worst thing about this guy is the way to buy him. He only comes in, what is it? The Tesseract
Vault.
Vault. Yeah. That's it. Find other models. Find something for it. No one is going to stop you, because that's the bad way to get it. So this one is the only one who's not an epic hero. He is not unique like that, which is very good for him. Where did I put my points document? Did I close out my points document? Do you have in front of you how many points this guy is?
I got you.
Thank you. Apparently I closed out my points document. Yeah,
Transcendent C'tan. 280. Whoa, he's actually more expensive than
Yeah, he's not cheap.
Wait, is he more expensive than the Void Dragon?
Yes,
he is.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
He has the same stat line that we've been talking about with the Necrodermis. That's the same as before. He's 4 objective. You are missing. I don't see.
I'm fixing the camera because it's on an angle.
That's fine.
Keep talking.
He's Deadly Demise D6. He deep strikes as well. I don't remember if I don't think the others deep striked. I don't know if we said any of that. Did they? No.
Did they?
He deep strikes.
Okay.
And we're going to see in a moment why he's probably... Oops, sorry, I went too far. My apologies. Why he's as much as he is. Transcendental Displacement. Each time this model is selected to advance, you can remove it from the battlefield and set it up anywhere on the battlefield that's more than 9 inches horizontally away from all enemy models. His ranged weapon is an assault weapon as well. So he can just show up on the board anywhere you want. Necrons are a slow army. So having a model that can just move at will with, as we're going to see, a pretty good gun and all like that, and then set himself up to really be able to hit someone in melee. Now, it's when he's selected to advance, so that would be an advance to charge. He doesn't do that, but you can actually run him around quite well. His ranged attack is at Seismic Assault. It's Assault with Sustained Hits 1, 12-inch range, 6 attacks on 2s, Strength 8, AP -2, D3 damage each. And his melee weapon, Sustained Hits 1, it's 8 attacks on 2s, Strength 9, AP -3, D6 damage. So he has somewhat similar profile to the Nightbringer in attacks. His AP's not quite as good. His strength's a little bit less, but he gets more attacks. He's got a good ranged weapon, and he can just show up where you want him to be. He, in general, for a lot of people, is the most popular option. I think he's a little bit hard to get. I do see why, although if I was taking only one, honestly, I'd probably take the Void Dragon.
Honestly, it's probably because the way the missions are designed.
Yes. Oh, right? That's absolutely why.
Yeah, you take tactical, and he's going to any tactical that's across the board or anything, and he's such a small base. What are you going to do? Zone him out? Who gives a shit?
Isn't the secondary for taking your opponent's objective? Isn't that like 8 points or something?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
but even behind enemy lines, it's 4-8.
Yeah, this guy can run back, get on your opponent's objective at OC4, and if there's models there. What they probably kept back is not the tankiest things. His 6 attacks on 2s at strength 8 is probably on 2s or 3s to wound them. AP -2, probably very likely to get through. D3 damage. Mm-hmm. He can cut them down enough that now it's your objective point instead. And then now he's in your backfield. Next turn he's charging in and removing whatever else he wants, or rushing off somewhere else. He's the most popular because this is an army that lacks mobility very largely. And this is a very mobile unit. I absolutely love him. I just have to find a different way to get him because I do not want to buy a Tesseract Vault. I have no interest in that, just personally.
Yeah.
It's a little much.
There we go.
All right. Where is Silent King as the second to last page? So let me get to him first. I forgot that some of these things were characters, so it makes sense just to do characters today because by the time we're done, it'll be the length of a full show.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we'll have just done the characters. But we did more characters than I thought, so that's going to help us out. Yeah.
Where the hell is he?
He's the second to last page 103.
Okay. Oh, God. And I have him. Jesus. All right. So the Silent King. And how many points is he? Sorry?
You have the points. I closed him. It's 400 something. He's expensive.
He's under the 470. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very expensive.
Silent.
I'll tell you right now. He's nothing like what he used to be. He's far from like you want him as bad as you used to.
Okay, so let's see what we got. Which is weird because most of the big named characters are not auto.
He's too expensive.
All right, let's see what we got. So he does come with his
2 Miniers.
Triarchal Miniers. Okay. So they're both movement 7. They're both toughness 10. They're both 2-up save. The Silent C'Zark, the Silent King, has 16 wounds. The Miniers have 5. They're both leadership 5. And the Silent King has 6 OC. And I guess the Miniers are 1 each, and he's got 2.
Yeah, he's got 2 of them.
All right.
It's weird that they're 1 each. Those things are huge.
Yeah, I know. They're deadly. He's deadly demise D6 + 3. Yeah. Wow. Actually, Jesus Christ. More than a knight, I think.
He's like the first one. He's like their Primarch for all intents and purposes, or almost their Emperor if you want to go to that level.
He is. He is big. At the start of the battle round, select one of the abilities to the left until the next to the start of the battle. So, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, good. And it's at the start of the battle round, not your battle round. Thank God. So I was talking about this with someone. It's at the start of the battle round. So you can choose it even though you're not going first.
Yes.
Some people got unlucky and it's like start of your turn round.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so dumb. I'll talk about them later. Let me just talk about this. The Silent King, once per turn at the end of your command phase, you can select one friendly battle shocked Necron unit within 12. That unit is no longer battle shocked. That's it?
That's his other thing. He removes battle shock.
But why not ever? He's 470. Just make it everyone within 12 inches. Like,
or
he's their
if
king.
They want to do everything, make it even 6. I'd be fine with that.
He's the goddamn king. I shall say he does degrade when he's 1 to 6 wounds. He halves the attack characteristics and subtract 1 from the hit roll. So, what are his abilities? So he's got 3 of them.
Yeah.
So, Pharaon of the Stars. While the friendly Necron unit is within 6 inches of this unit of the C'Zark model, each time a model in this unit makes a range attack, reroll hit rolls and wound rolls of 1. Okay. This becomes Trajan essentially, or used to be Trajan. Pharaon of the Blades.
Yep.
While a friendly Necron unit is within 6 inches of the unit's C'Zark model, you can reroll charge rolls for that unit. Okay, so this is like for if you're a melee army. And Bringer of Unity. While a friendly Necron unit is within 6 inches of this unit, you can ignore any and all.
Yes. You got to finish reading.
I know. It felt so good to read this. This is the second time I've read it in the game. You can ignore any or all modifiers to the characteristics of models in that unit and to any roll or test made for models in that unit. Okay.
Excluding saves, of course.
Excluding saves. This is the Trajan dilemma, the one that people have been raging about for months, even though it's very much rules as written. This means that you do not modify, like most people are like, oh yeah, you don't modify hit rolls, right? Or wound rolls. This also means you ignore wound caps. You ignore damage being halved. You ignore damage -1. You ignore, what are the modifiers are there? Help me out, Dave. I'm trying to think.
I thought there was
-1 to wound.
Yeah.
So the way this is written, and GW hasn't changed it yet, is that now everything within 6 inches of C'Zark, if you are facing an army of -1 damage, or Deathwing, who do transhuman, right? Oh, you only wound me on 4s, haha. No, you don't. You just do what you do best. And it's a 6-inch aura.
So I have a question about it. So this says you can ignore any or all modifiers to the characteristics of models in this unit, in the unit.
Yeah.
So I guess the idea is if you were going to make it harder for me to wound, that's changing my characteristic?
Yes, it is.
Huh. Okay.
Yep. Now, someone did make the argument, by the way, and it was quickly like people punched and kicked them down because they didn't want this rule to change. Because technically, modifying the wound is a characteristic.
Oh, well, no, that's ridiculous, yes.
Someone was arguing that, well, that makes me invulnerable, doesn't it? And we were like, shut the fuck up. Stop it. This is the Trajan dilemma because... Yep, it's been argued.
But has GW said either
not
way?
Not a goddamn thing. And we have asked because the reason for this, by the way, is because I didn't even know C'Zark had. I guess C'Zark's not a popular model because he's so expensive.
Yes,
Trajan is a much more popular model, and Trajan has the same exact ability. He only gives it to his unit though, and even the recent Tacoma tournament.
Yeah.
When you went against stuff that like whatchamacallit, Wraith Guard, that are -1 damage, nope. You don't modify my damage. You don't modify my wound. You don't. You modify wound because the wound is on a chart, I think, right?
Yeah, because your wound is a chart. Wound is not a characteristic.
So if you're -1 to wound, that's different. But -1 damage.
Okay, now I agree with you because you were talking about wounds. I'm like, no, that's a chart. That's not a characteristic of me.
No, sorry.
Okay,
sorry.
Okay, no, I'm on board now. I still don't. That's still crazy. Absolutely, but
so it's crazy on Trajan, and that's what almost kind of makes an auto take. Because axes are absolutely useless. They're AP1, but they're 3 damage. And people are like, I'll just AOC it, right? And Trajan just goes, no, you don't. Oh, you're going to half my 3 damage? No. Or you're going to -2 damage against Deathwing? No.
See, I find that funny, though, that people have interpreted it that way. And if that's what everyone's saying, then fine, we'll go with it.
I only thought Trajan had that ability. I did not know that. No one takes
the part that I find out about that, because it's the characteristic of the model. Exactly. I guess it makes sense that your weapon damage is a characteristic, but I think the characteristic is the things across the top.
It's literally because in the rulebook, weapons are characteristics of the model. It's word for word from the sentence.
So it's because they've used the word characteristic in that way.
The entire data sheet is the characteristic of the unit and model.
Okay.
So, reducing attacks. That was the one. Not reducing wounds. Reducing attacks. Oh, you reduced me by 1 or 2 attacks? No, you don't. No.
Okay.
Which is really funny, by the way, because that also means that he ignores his own half the attacks and subtract 1 from the hit roll.
Yes, if he wants to, he could.
He could,
you
yes.
may ignore it. Yeah. So actually, yeah, he doesn't have to take any of this. See, that's where then when I look at that, I don't think that's truly what they meant. I understand that they called your weapons characteristics, but I don't think that's what they mean by this. And I think at some point we're going to see that FAQ say, when we say characteristic in this, we just mean your move, toughness, all of that. Yeah. That's definitely what it's supposed to be.
But here's the problem. Weapon strength is now part of the weapon, not the unit. So does that mean that they get modified strength? Well, anyway, point is, that's how it's read. That's how tournaments are playing it. I did not realize it's a 6-inch bubble, although probably people don't think it because it's 470 points. That's the problem.
And yeah, you're getting some things in there, but we already, there's already Skorpekh destroyers. You don't modify some of their stuff as well. You're not gaining that much. And when you get into his attacks, you'll see a little bit of why some of the other issues.
So let's see what we got. Annihilator beam. He's got.
So the Meniers have the Annihilator beam, so you have 2 of those.
Oh God! Now I'm understanding. Okay.
Yeah.
What are the Meniers, by the way? Do they just take wounds for him, or is it like?
Yeah, they're just part of his unit.
Okay. So the Meniers have Annihilators. So you get 2 of these. It's 1 attack, 2s to hit, strength 14, AP 4, 6 damage, flat. Okay. Hopefully pop 12 damage into a tank. Okay. No devastating wounds, no anti-tank, no nothing.
Nope.
Okay. Just a solid shot weapon. He's got the Scepter of Eternal Glory. This is 2 shots, a 2 up to hit. Strength 10, AP 3 damage with devastating wounds. Staff of Stars, which is indirect fire. 12 shots, 2 up to hit. Strength 6, AP -1 damage. I'm so much more. Oh, that's so sad. I'm so much more impressed with the indirect fire than the Scepter.
Yeah.
That makes me so sad.
I mean,
because indirect fire is so amazing.
Yeah, the Scepter's nice. It's just the 2 attacks is tough. If it was more attacks, I'd be happier.
Yeah, it's the AP -1 that is really good. Melee weapons. He's got what?
The close combat weapons are what the Meniers have. So you have 2 base close combat weapons.
Okay, they're Space Marines. The worst in Space.
The worst in Space
Marines. 1
Marines.
attack, hitting on 4s. Okay, next. Scythe of Dust. Lethal hits. 12 attacks. Strength 8, AP 3, damage 2. And that's really it. And he has to be your warlord, obviously. He's the Supreme Commander, probably.
His biggest problem.
He should not be 470.
No, that's the problem.
Yep.
It's nothing he does is bad. The Meniers, 1 shot, but hey, nice damage. His attacks, pretty decent damage. His abilities, pretty good. But not for let's assume you're playing Knight. 2K.
He's more expensive than Knight.
Yeah, if
he's
you're
more
playing a
expensive
2K
than
game,
a Lancer.
Yeah, if you're playing a 2K game, he's a quarter of your points.
He does not bring what a Lancer brings.
No.
Although, again, hold on, pause though. That aura, if you build for it,
the problem is you really can't. It's not easy. So,
where's that? I'm looking for your shooting attacks. There we are. So the Lokhust is what? Damage 6. Oh shit! But it's 1 shot or damage 1. Okay, so that's your Doomstalker. Okay, so it's
D6 damage 3s. But the big thing is you're not getting really modified much. It's a nice ability, but there's not tons and tons of modifications that's happening to you. There is some, but not for 470 points.
If you put him next to 12 destroyers and they don't get modified, that's scary. I'm going to patch.
But destroyers were already scary before. I don't need to put 470 points
damage -1. Now they go from damage to damage.
How much damage -1 is there? Not everyone has damage -1. And here's the thing. Oh, those guys have damage -1. I'll shoot somewhere else.
Okay.
The problem is
he's not 470.
No, it's not a bad ability. But I don't want to build towards something where a quarter of my points are taken up, and then I have to do even more. Because if let's say you did that, when it's all said and done, the amount of points you put in to be able to do that some of their units, I still have to go get objectives.
Stupid question. Can he refresh his Meniers with reanimation?
That's a good question.
That depends on how many points I'd give him, because now we're talking about, you killed a Menhir or you killed 2. Okay, I'll just rebuild 1 again. Oh, you only killed 1? Okay, I'm rebuilding 1. Now I have 2 again.
Yes. But by the way they do the rules, because you can return things, I would say...
How easy is it?
Let's think. So if you had 1 Menhir left, you could definitely bring back the other. Although you're bringing it back with up to D3 wounds. So
it's still only got 5 wounds, so...
Yeah. If they're both gone, could you bring it back? They are part of the unit.
No, they are part of the... They come back, but how easy... Is it automatically coming back? Oh, I'm trying to remember your reanimation.
Yes. It's automatic.
Oh, it is? Then you can... Then he apps... Okay. So, I was going to give him like 380, but the fact that he stupidly has almost always... he will have... If you kill the Menhirs, let's say, he'll always have D3 wounds ablative every turn. I'd be comfortable with him at 400.
400. I could make a. I could see it sitting there at 400, about 70 points
because
cheaper.
That's about knight level. And now you're talking about he doesn't put out knight damage. I mean, he kind of.
No, he does not.
No, he doesn't put out knight damage. But he does have some high shots. But his utility is massive.
Yes. And
the fact that you really don't want to kill him. 16 wounds, toughness 10, 4 up save, 2 up save. 2 up save, 4 up invulnerable, and then regenerating Menhirs. He's not going to die.
It will be tough for you to take him down, but I don't think he's going to do enough for your army for what you're going to take out. Necron's whole thing is that you are going to struggle to wipe them out. They are an army that is meant to stick around. They're an army of attrition. But I think you're spending way too much for this particular attrition. Because let's keep in mind, if you're taking him, how many characters are you giving up for all your units that are only getting buffed if they have characters?
Yeah, very true.
Because now I can't take 300 or 400 points.
Oh, you can't even give him the special thing of like within 6 inches of him.
Nope. Because he's epic.
See, that is okay. That's a very good point. Because now you're giving up character slot or character points where you could need to put them in units.
Yes.
All
your units are worse now. Because
here's the fun part.
Took all the points.
The Silent King, that stupid battle shock thing.
Yeah.
That should have just been the enhancement. In my opinion. Because he's the lord of all of them. Fluff-wise, he literally is their king.
Yes.
The original king. He's the one who made the deal.
Yes.
He should just count as a lord for everyone within 12 inches.
Yeah.
Or 6. Fuck it, whatever. Make it 6. That should be his rule. Because what's really killing me, by the way, is that his ranged weapons are pretty damn good, right? His melee weapons, pretty damn good. His abilities, pretty damn good. Literally, the Silent King is so goddamn bad that it like detracts points from him. It's not even like 12 inches, all of them, or 6 inches, all of them. It's 1 Necron unit. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's my problem with him. It's not the Menhirs coming back. It's not the fact that he's 470. Make him 470.
470 is a problem.
Well, 470 is a problem. But the problem is this. He's literally got a useless ability. This Silent King ability is actually useless, in my opinion. And I'm not going to mince words on that.
No. GW has put a lot of effort into this idea that Battle Shock is this huge important thing. And it's kind of like the nice to have. For demons, nice to have. Tyranids, maybe nice to have.
We talked about this with Conquest. Remember how Broken didn't used to be shit? Yeah. And now it's like, oh God, I'm broken, please stop.
Yes.
That's what GW needs to do with Battle Shock. Battle Shock is, I'm OC0 and I can't play stratagems. It's okay. I'm still 10 Praetorians. Oh, God damn it. I forgot you. The Lich Guard. What are your melee guys? I'm still 10 Lich Guard. I'll still charge you because I could still charge you. All of a sudden, if Battle Shock, let's say, made you, I don't know, half move, -1 a hit, right?
Even -1's the hit. But then you have
now we're talking though, like, okay, I don't want to get battle shocked. I need to get rid of it.
But then you'd have to rebalance what some armies do, because armies that like demons, who it's -1 essentially to a bunch of your opponent, Now that ability is way too much. Now their models have to go up like 20%.
No, you're true.
But I agree. Battle Shock is it's not the boogeyman that they want us to feel it is.
Honestly, if they just change that ability, the Silent King, I'd be happy. Maybe not a 470, but I'd be a lot happier because he's literally got one ability. I'm not even good. I'm actually salty about this. Yeah. This is literally an anti-ability.
Yeah. In an army where you want your characters, you can't afford to replace them all like this because you still are going to want 2 to 3 others, at least a couple Cryptechs. You're probably going to want 200 to 300 points worth of characters on top of this guy. You're getting 700 plus points. Oh, I'm taking those characters. I need these certain units. Half of your list is fully decided before you even make a decision. So it's a shame. He was probably too much before, but now he's a bit.
He's still annoying though. Getting Miniers every turn is really, really annoying. But it's
yeah.
But that's all he's doing.
All right. Why don't we do some quick closing thoughts and then we'll head out of here.
I mean, there are some clear winners, in my opinion.
Yes.
Right? Like, you have the Overlord, in my opinion, an absolute clear winner. 0 CP, stratagem, amazing. Out of the C'tans, man, I don't know if it's the Void Dragon or the normal one I like, the Transcendent. No, I'm not going to say the fence.
Okay.
I know you have Transcendent because of how the game is.
I agree, and the biggest reason I agree, and we haven't gotten to this yet, Necrons have a decent amount of other anti-tank. The Void Dragon is better. Let's be honest. it is better anti-tank than our other anti-tank. But anti-tank isn't our big weakness. Speed is the weakness. If you don't take Veil, you're really not moving great. This is a way to move very well.
On a durable platform.
Yes, yeah. On a nice chunky platform. So
yeah. And I already talked about the non-named. I think Overlord's the clear winner there. Although if I chose Lieutenant, it's either the Plasmancer or where's the Cryptomancer? Okay, what was his name again?
Chronomancer. It's the other one.
No. The stupid Technomancer.
Oh, sorry, Technomancer.
For the 5 appeal, no pain.
Yes,
So it's either damage or no, it's gonna be Technomancer for lieutenants. I think out of all the lieutenant ones.
See, I like Plasmancer because I like essentially for my warriors getting lethal hits on 5s.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm taking my Lich Guard unit, my Lich Guard is getting feel no pains and other stuff like that.
I play more melee, so that's why I like I play custodians in Cord, so that's why I like the Technomancer more, just because of the ability to get into close combat. Let's see here. Overlord, I think, is the clear winner of the normal non-named, in my opinion. Let me just scroll up.
What I like in general is that there's enough variety where there's a reason to take the different ones. The Lord and the Overlord actually do function very differently. So where the Overlord shines in certain units, the Lord would be a better choice in some other ones because you have units that care more about the movement. The extra, if it's your unit of warriors, I don't care about them getting a free 0 CP thing. Maybe I care a little bit more about some of the other things I do or the cheapness of it. There's some play there. For the named characters,
about this army, I'll say. Well, I already said the named ones. I think my top 3 are Szeras.
Yeah.
Then you have Obyron and Zahndrekh tied for second because they're both the same. And then I think I gave it to Trazyn for the sticky. Yeah.
Yeah, so you gave it to Trazyn for second.
What's cool about your army is that you don't need a named character.
No, but none you have plenty of options. None of your named
characters are auto take, and you have plenty of options.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Your heroes are cool. You have so many, though. Jesus.
Yes.
But that's so cool because you have variety. You can build whatever you really want.
Yeah. Next time when we get into some of the units, we'll talk about how to use some of those characters, exactly where to put them and all. But it makes sense to discuss them first, and then we'll talk about maybe ways to use them. Although I've mentioned different ways that are good options for you. But yeah, they have a lot of named characters. They have a lot of these pieces, and you can sprinkle to taste. Your main rule says take characters. So take a bunch of characters. Your stratagems want you to take characters. So take them. this is an army where you could easily spend 300 to 400 points on your characters and then fill out the rest of the list. That's the other problem the Silent King has, is because I already want Silent King amount of characters. I can't afford him and that amount.
Yeah.
But all right. So I think that'll do it for us tonight. So thank you everyone who does listen or watches, depending on which one. Remember, we put this on a podcatcher. We also have this up on YouTube. YouTube does get some other content. Been a little light on some of the other stuff lately, but the goal is hopefully get some more things. Now that we have better audio, I'd like to actually start recording more battle reports. Are you going to the Conquest tournament next week at Toy Wiz?
No, I didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. It's,
I didn't get told anything,
29th,
so I didn't plan for
it.
I did not plan for it.
I'm going to talk to Parker. If possible, I'll record there. I'll at least go. I haven't decided fully yet if I'm playing, because I don't know if I want to play 3 rounds at like probably 2.5 to 3 hours a round. That just might be more than I feel like doing personally right now. But I at least want to record the games out of there. But we have a bunch of recordings we want to do. Hopefully, Steve gets his stuff figured out soon, because we'd like to get back to 30K. Maybe we'll talk to him, see if he at least wants to hop on by phone, and we'll do a little something short. Because I know that's sort of our bread and butter. I don't want to do it without him, but at the same point, we want to be able to at least get some more recordings out about that. But for the meantime, we're going to be doing some 40K stuff. For other things coming up, we obviously have the other half of this, and we have maybe a TTS game we wanted to do, and some other things. So we're going to hopefully get to some of that stuff very soon. If you want to reach out, you can reach out to us. We have our email, of course, trainkickersnj@gmail.com. You can reach out on our Discord, which we put in the link below. We have Facebook, put those links below. If you like what you listen to, obviously on YouTube, the free stuff, like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff really, really helps. If you instead want to throw money at the problem of you need more content, we do have a Patreon as well. The information is below. I think that's it for the moment. I'm sure we'll have other things, but it's actually kind of late. We've been recording for a bit, so we'll get to any of that later. So then, on behalf of both of us here at the show, has a good hobby and some great gaming.